Crossover.
Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover. It just crossed him over nastily.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
All right, the crossover is powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com.
Yeah.
Hello.
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 Is everything okay?
We good?
No. Okay.
No?
So
Oh,
I'm
no.
looking in the fridge.
Yeah. How many Red Bulls are in there?
No, hold on. I'm waiting for you to
Just
log in so I can then take
It's my dad's email.
Oh. Hey, Dad.
Yeah.
How is Scott doing?
He is good. He's good.
He's good.
He's good. He's doing good.
Scott's good.
He just renewed his subscription to Bally's whatever.
It's the FanDuel Sports Network.
Sorry, FanDuel Sports Network.
Wow, he still has that email. That's awesome.
Well, I still have Yahoo. Who's older?
I don't know. I just always assume whenever I see that email, I go, "Wow, that's old." You know,
Well, I have
that in AOL.
Really? Hotmail is old?
Oh, yeah.
I still,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Hotmail's an old email.
Which is older, Hotmail or Yahoo?
I would say Hotmail. Probably.
Well,
Really? Because I've
Yeah.
gotten made fun of for being Yahoo before.
see how many AOL unread emails
There
I
you
Yeah,
have?
but what's your at? Is it at AOL.com?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a little.
That's even old school.
that's a
I mean,
little
that's
old.
the first like
It
dawn
is-
of the internet.
My
email.
first email address I have kept. It's not my primary one.
Same here. That's what I did.
Yeah.
But my original email, my first email that I ever had, I had the foresight to say, let's just make this my first and last name with nothing else.
It's not
Because
race
it's
car
not- yeah,
revving.
it's
Yeah,
not.
yeah,
I love
yeah.
basketball.
So-
94.
So I
No.
made that mistake.
Yeah. What's your stupid email?
Mine is always talking 405 at gmail.com.
That's facts.
But
though.
here's the thing. If you look at it, it's always talking 405, right? But if you look at it spelled out, it looks like always stalking.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it looks like.
Can't
So-
really give the ladies
so-
your email, can
Yeah.
ya?
So
yeah,
when I
check
made
this out.
so when I made the email when I was like 10 and I sent it out to people like, "Oh my God, Matt's got an email." Everybody was like, "What the hell type of address is this? Why is it always stalking 405?" And I'm like, "It's not what it was meant for. It was
Not
always
what it was
talking."
meant for. Not what it was meant for.
So I had to make
Don't
a-
look. Don't look. Don't look.
I had to
This
make
is an
I'm
odd
typing in my
pa-
password. It's so hard.
This is such an odd password.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. Don't look. Now I forget the rest of the letters. Hold on.
Is there any
Why
numbers?
don't you just start with a capital?
Oh, there's so many numbers. There's so many.
How many numbers?
Oh, you don't even want to know.
All right.
Why doesn't your
We're-
dad's
we're current-
password start with a capital letter?
1, 2, 3, 4.
It doesn't
5,
start with a
6,
capital.
7,
Don't
8,
tell people that
9,
it doesn't
10.
start with a capital letter.
There's 10.
Why did you put an underscore underneath of it?
It's
Why?
nowhere.
Oh my God.
There's no
What are we
underscore.
doing? And then there's again more numbers.
Oh, so many more numbers.
I'm going to guess that this is not right.
This
It
is,
is.
I think you skipped a number you were trying to click. This is like a 14-letter password. 15, 16, 17, 18.
We can't have just anyone watching our Royals games.
Holy Lord.
I have
What is the
accepted the
point?
terms of use. Did it work? Did I click in all the numbers?
Wow.
Yes, I did.
Oh, let's watch this.
Up and
Yeah.
Adams.
Hell
with
yeah.
Faye Adams.
You know what? Good Morning Football on the NFL Network has not been the same since she left. The
It
chemi-
hasn't been, but
But
I
now
do.
Schrags is out.
Schrager-
I like
yeah,
Jamie,
Schrager's
I like
leaving.
Jamie Erdahl.
Yeah, but like
It's a different energy.
Kay Adams had such great chemistry with Schrager and Brandt.
Yeah.
And then D'Angelo Hall would come in. And now they're just, when they split that show and they moved most of it to LA, they just ruined that show.
It's a different. Yeah,
That was one of the best
I know.
shows going on cable television talking football. And now you got Schrager who's going to go to ESPN.
Schrager's going to ESPN.
He's going to be a star, though.
Well, Kyle Brandt had he was crying on Arrow almost. He was
Oh,
like-
you hate Kyle Brandt.
I mean, his
Kyle Brandt on Sundays on CBS when he does his little,
It's great.
it's awesome.
his obituary was like, "I don't like making friends. I'm a curmudgeon. I have no more friends anymore. I only like my wife and like 4 people, and one of those people is Peter Schrager.
Mhm.
I'm so sad to see him go."
Nice.
It's like it's a really weird way of saying that I'm sad to see my friend that I no longer work with. He's good at his job. He's good at his job. He's just a different type of cat.
By the way,
It's a
poll
different type
question
of
up at
dude.
Happer Show: is Hotmail an old email?
Yes, 1,000,000%.
So please vote.
Also, which is the older sounding email domain? AOL, Hotmail, Yahoo.
Definitely
Ooh,
AOL.
a
There's a lot of
three
options
option
today.
Yeah.
poll
Is this
here
the first?
on a Monday. We don't have very
It's
many
pretty
of them.
rare.
Okay.
We
So
don't
this
have
is a
very many.
special poll.
I really want people to have a take when they vote with us.
By the way, for
There's
somebody
Matt
that
Dickermeal.
has stayed in that hotel for an anniversary, the Breakers, you get maybe a $110 a night room.
Hey, so where is this again?
Palm Beach.
Palm Beach.
It's not very far from Mar-a-Lago.
Oh, fun. They could all visit.
Yeah. But the Breakers is like a great hotel. If you're ever down in that part of Florida.
There might be
South
some
Florida.
NFL coaches who probably go visit Mar-a-Lago
Oh, yeah.
over the next couple of days.
Let's try and decide who.
Yeah, let's do that. Hey, which ones would be most likely?
Most likely current NFL coaches to make an appearance at
Vrabel.
Mar-a-Lago in the next
Vrabel.
48 hours.
Vrabel.
Ooh.
Vrabel for sure.
Vrabel's very high.
Vrabel is very high up on that list. I think sneakily Sean McDermott might pop in. Like, oh, Sean, you're here. Both the Harbaughs, without a doubt, they go together.
I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying so far.
Yeah.
Dan Quinn for sure gonna be there. Probably in like some sunglasses and a newly shaved goatee.
Backwards hat.
Harbaugh's,
It was a
yeah.
different
Yeah.
president, but did the Michigan football team go to the White House?
I don't know. The LSU football team went to the White House. I'll never forget that. I don't know if they did.
Because the Kansas City Chiefs are going. The guys that were on the COVID Super Bowl are going to the White House.
Oh, okay.
January 9th, 2024. It appear
January 9th. They didn't go till a year after.
It might just be a tweet.
No, I guess that would make sense. That would be around the. No, they went immediately after they won the national championship.
No, that was just a tweet.
All right, now I'm looking back at the picture. Carroll definitely would. Oh, Carroll. I mean, that whole middle section. Sean Payton, John and Jim Harbaugh, and Pete Carroll definitely would take a visit.
Definitely Sean Payton.
Definitely Sean Payton. Definitely Sean Payton.
Definitely Sean Payton.
You know what? I would go visit just because it's,
I would too.
I
I
think
just want to
that's it.
see it.
I would too.
Oh, Dable too. Dable.
Yeah.
All
Dable
right.
would go.
Hap, I've been thinking about you all weekend.
Why?
You know how you turn me on?
Whoa.
Jeez.
Yeah, because I'm not an NCAA tournament win. I'm like a Final Four, like a national championship. Shout out to thanks.
Hey, how did our guy struggled this weekend? His WAR is supposed to be 12. He struggled this weekend. Okay, Bobby,
Yeah.
except for one game. They
Bobby
struggled. They
baseball.
struggled over game.
It's okay.
Okay, so I looked in the fridge because I was gonna use this as an example. So I had never eaten a Uncrustable
Mhm.
until you guys started bringing them in,
Mhm.
and I'm like, they look really good. And then you guys talked about them,
They're delicious.
and I was like, you know what? I got to try them. And now I'm kind of addicted to them. So,
Good take.
Expensive habit.
so as you guys turn me on to them, I'm gonna make you moan. You ready?
I don't think you are, but okay.
I'm on my TikTok last night.
Yeah, I know where you're going.
What?
Did you see this?
Where is he
Yeah.
going?
Yeah.
The deep fried Uncrustable.
Absolutely not. That
Oh,
sounds
no,
like
no.
absolutely
Hold on.
not.
Hold on.
This is the buffalo
No.
chicken of Uncrustable.
I
Why?
totally agree.
Why?
Totally agree.
Why?
You don't deep fry more
Why?
bread with bread.
Why?
No. So you got the pancake mix. You got an egg. What else did he put
The
in there?
pancake mix.
Why
What are
would-
you
why-
saying?
why
Well,
would
you got egg, milk, and pancake mix to make the
Yeah.
batter. Okay, then you take the Uncrustable and you put it in the batter. Okay, and then you got the greases boiling and stuff.
Mhm.
And so you're not going to burn it very long. So it's like 2 minutes on one side, 2 minutes on the other. You take it out, you put it in the little elevated like rack. Okay, and then
You dunk it in.
no. Then you got powdered sugar
Powdered sugar.
on top of it, and then you drizzle some honey on there.
He bit into that thing and
Oh, that would make you
Crunch.
moan.
No, it would absolutely not.
It's too much bread for me. Just
It-
deep
it-
frying
well,
bread with more bread.
That's true. I mean, yeah,
It's a lot of
We're
bread.
basically
That's
corn dogifying an
yeah.
Uncrustable.
It's almost as if you're deep frying a
but
corn dog
the
already.
stuff inside of the Uncrustable is still there. It's still
Is it
nice.
hot?
Would you
Nope.
would you want a deep fried
It's not
sandwich?
hot?
The guy said the guy was asked about, like, people were asking him in the comments about questions, and he said no.
A 4-minute fry. I feel
No,
like
he's
that would
two on
melt
one side,
the
two
jelly.
on the other. You got to watch it. Boom, boom. You don't let it get burnt. You take it off, powdered sugar, honey. Oh,
Honey.
I just don't. I just feel this is unnecessary.
It sounds like 450 calories a bite. That's what that sounds like.
It's not even that. Like I would
That
eat.
sounds
I would
like-
eat something fat.
Yeah,
Of course.
that sounds so fattening.
I've eaten fatter things before.
Do you have fatter day?
I've been a fatter person, in my life.
the way you said.
But this just doesn't work for me.
Mm.
This just
Is
doesn't
this a
work
no
for
from
me.
you, dog?
I'll try it. I'll try anything.
I would have it.
Josh is onto it.
I'll try it. Josh
Oh, yeah,
tries
I'm in.
everything.
I'm in.
Josh is like, what's the newest thing you could do with
Could
an
we
already
make it in
existing
here?
thing? And he's
Oh,
like, okay.
100%.
Oh, we do not want a deep fryer in here. No, we don't.
I
We remember the great bacon incident.
I don't.
Okay. But you know what? I think we've learned our lesson since then.
What if we got a George Foreman grill and then we just put Uncrustables in George Foreman grill? I feel like that would be pretty
Okay,
damn
use
good.
it like a panini press.
yeah,
sort
like a
of?
panini press.
Wouldn't you be
Okay.
at serious risk of losing the innards of the Uncrustable at that
I
point?
feel like if you properly pressed, you could be okay. You would have to. You'd have to be a ninja with it.
What about an air fryer?
But
It
I want the
accomplishes the
grill.
same
But I
task.
want the grill marks on my Uncrustable.
I'm
Okay.
saying like for the deep fry thing.
Yeah.
Can't you just air fry it?
No,
Theoretically, you
air
get the
fryer
same
is
thing.
not
No.
the same. No, you do
No.
not get the. No, absolutely. Not.
Well, I put a French fry in the air
Hey,
fryer, and
hey,
same thing
Hey,
happens.
if
as the
we're gonna go
oil.
disgusting, if we're gonna go like this is unhealthy for me, don't do the whole air fryer BS. Just go all the way. Put it in a fatty piece of oil and let it run.
I had an air fryer in college, and
I have
it was one of the worst mistakes of my life.
Because you put everything in the air fryer?
I mean,
It's a smart play.
not an air fryer. I had a deep fat fryer.
Oh.
I had
Lord.
is that what I said? I'm sorry.
In your dorm room?
You had
not. This is post dorm room.
you had like a KFC style deep fryer in your in your apartment.
Yeah, pretty much.
That is fat. I mean, that is.
So did you use it for everything?
Yeah,
Yeah, I put whatever I wanted. Yeah.
that is.
It's great.
Incredible.
It's horrible. It was great and horrible at the same time.
Did you just?
It was awful.
Did you get to the point where you're like, all right, actually, I want to see if this can deep fry? Was it just a constant episode of Will It Deep Fry with you when you were in college?
No, I only did
What was-
fries and chicken nuggets, and I made mozzarella sticks a lot.
Wow.
There's a couple times that went badly. Just woke up in the middle of the night and just felt like somebody was stabbing me with a knife in my stomach. Just like pain. And then your entire house smells like it.
Oh,
and all your clothes and everything like that. And eventually
It's got to be a pain in the butt.
you
too,
got to
to,
get rid
like,
of it.
to change the oil.
Yeah,
and
I probably didn't
clean
change
it.
oil like often
Probably
enough.
smells like
Right.
crap.
You know.
You know. How big was it?
It was the size of the little rack that,
Yeah.
the wire rack that he was talking about. It's like a single serving.
Did you keep it
It's
out?
countertop, yeah.
You just keep it on the countertop.
Yeah,
the
because
entire
like
time?
you didn't want to
put it
you
in
were,
anywhere.
You were supposed to change the oil and clean it every time, but obviously it's way too time consuming for a college student. So like you didn't
Or
change
any
oil,
human, yeah.
or didn't change your oil every time. So it just stayed out on the counter.
That's crazy.
most of the time.
That is
Jock
crazy.
Slap would like to know, have you ever had a Monte Cristo?
What happens on that again?
So that is a deep fried sandwich
Mhm.
that has,
What kind?
what do we got? We got ham. We got Swiss cheese.
Ham, Swiss.
I don't know
cheese.
Monte Cristo.
Ham,
I definitely have heard of
turkey-
it.
Ham, turkey, Swiss cheese, white bread. You dip it in the egg batter and it's
Yep.
fried.
That sounds good.
It's Monte Cristo. You don't see them a lot, but
No.
it is really, really good. I think it's difficult for like restaurants to make, like
Sure.
unless it's a specialty.
I believe that restaurant down on 16th Street makes them.
Yeah, they make everything, Josh.
And they'll put it in everything as well.
They will.
Oh, I like a Monte Cristo.
They're not afraid to experiment.
They're not afraid to put a waffle cone inside a burrito stuffed with lobster and tacos.
Throw some Doritos.
The
on
best
top of
thing
it.
that happened to the Monte Cristo sandwich in Nebraska was Monte Cristo played quarterback.
That's right. When I Google Monte Cristo, the first thing is Monte Cristo, 1998 University of Nebraska football player. First team super state and all Nebraska defensive back at Kearney High.
But I would
funny.
recommend, try a Monte Cristo, and then work your way up to the deep fried.
that looks
Uncrustable.
doable. That looks doable.
I think you'd
to
like
me.
it. You're a man of sandwiches.
I am a man of sandwiches.
So this is like sweet and savory though, because the one I'm
There's
looking
like a
at has
powdered
powdered
sugar.
sugar on top
Mhm.
of it.
Yeah.
Kind of, I mess with that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like a ham and cheese crepe with like some powdered sugar on top. Ever have that? It's pretty damn good.
I haven't creped.
I love
Very
crepes.
much.
I wanted a crepe maker for Christmas.
The crepe craze is taken off.
I asked for a crepe maker for Christmas, and I didn't get one.
You look everywhere now, and there's a crepe store popping up.
You ever see a crepe cake? You make a crepe cake.
Crepe cake.
Yeah, and it's like really time consuming, and it's real, but it looks absolutely incredible.
Sounds all right.
I would love a crepe cake.
That gentleman on the phone there, Josh.
Awfully loud.
Very
voice.
Yeah.
He was very excited about where you can get
A Monte
a
Cristo.
Monte Cristo sandwich in this town.
And where was it?
And I would like to let everyone know you don't have to call and tell me every location in Omaha that has a Monte Cristo
But
sandwich.
what did he
Where did he say?
Shutters.
Now, that would not surprise me. That would not surprise me. You could get a good Monte Cristo at Cheddar's.
Why would that? What?
Because it is a comfort food place
Okay.
that appeals to a lot of people.
Do you dip a Monte Cristo in anything?
Ooh.
Do you dip it in a syrup
Ooh.
or something like that?
I would dip Monte Cristo. I would dip
I've
a
never
Monte
dipped.
Cristo sandwich in the syrup for sure.
Something like that. I really wanted a sandwich this weekend, and then we were heading toward a sandwich place, and then we decided to get Broncos instead.
I'm supposed to eat it.
All right.
Okay. Was
I
the
love
Broncos
Broncos.
located in front of the sandwich
It's very
place?
close to the sandwich place. Very close to the sandwich place.
And you immediately made a turnoff?
we were just like, because my wife, you
My
ask her
wife.
any time of the day, but especially if like for lunch on a Saturday or lunch on a Sunday or something like that, she always wants a burger.
Yeah.
And
Really?
so
Wow.
if that is in like the option, or if we're close to that, she's gonna choose the hamburger. So that's what we did. That's what we
Wow.
did. So I took my little child, my little baby daughter, to Broncos for the first time. She got a picture with all the Cowboys.
Baby's first Broncos.
Yep. Yeah. There was some weird guy in there.
Always is.
Yeah. Commenting on things.
Well, it depends now. Hold on.
There she is. Take a look. There she is at Broncos with the Cowboys.
What a proud dad.
I was proud.
So the one on 120th is not bad.
That's where I went.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like if you go to the one on Leavenworth, which I think is the original.
Yeah. Do you know they had breakfast in there?
Yes. Hey,
Oh.
more places are dabbling in breakfast.
Yeah, interesting.
So in my neighborhood, Beacon Hills is offering breakfast. I saw Primo's is now offering breakfast.
yeah, it's another thing is that we just don't know the hours of places anymore. Does it open at 8:00 in the morning, or does it open at 2 in the afternoon? We'll never know.
Or does it close just because
It's
they want to?
Yeah.
At 4:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot in this discussion.
Yeah.
Because I think like places like First Watch have the ideal hours, 7 to 2:30.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, 7 to 2:30. But here's another thing we have in this town, and I think it's probably post-COVID, is restaurants like, let's say they're open till 9. If there's nobody in there, they'll just close.
Yeah.
Like
I know,
if you're
it's like
going
we're
there
going
at
home.
8:30, the place is closed, but they say they're open till 9. They
But then
probably
so-
had nobody in the dining room, and they're like, we're done for the night.
But then someone shows up at 8:50 and they're like, I want a breakfast, and they're
Yeah.
like, we're closed.
Google,
they get mad
Google
at
said
you.
you're open till midnight.
They get
mad at
It's
you.
8:00. Yeah.
But that's an
get
epidemic in
mad
this
at you.
town.
They get mad. They get pissed at you. They're like, "Why? How dare you come during our operating hours on our website and try and order something?"
There's a give and take, I guess. There's a give and
COVID.
take.
Mhm.
COVID gave a lot of people the flexibility to say and do whatever the hell they want.
And then restaurants
That is
wonder,
true. That is
"Wait,
true.
hey, how come no one's in here?" Well, they don't know when you're
You're
open. That's
And then-
why you're not making
and then
any
you
money, and that's why you're closed, and that's why you're begging for money on Facebook.
yes.
And then you come when they're open, and then
Nice.
then they scold you,
Yes.
and then you're the worst human ever because now I
Also, what
actually
kind of
have
food
to
do you
work
serve?
my hours as opposed to leaving early.
Okay, so let's say
So
a
damn
fast
you,
food
Odson.
place like McDonald's does this, and McDonald's is open later in this town in most places.
But you know what? I know that they're open.
That's
If they
right.
have the lights
on,
That's
they're
why
open.
people go there.
Yep.
but they
Because the
do
lights
this,
are
so
on.
they'll
Poll
shut
question. Is that why people go to McDonald's? Because they know when they're open? Because I think it is.
They're noping. They'll shut off the lights, but the drive-through is still open.
Yes,
Mhm.
That's right. That's fine too.
Could McDonald's just exist with drive-through? only?
absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
Because they got rid of the playground.
Sure.
There's no
I-
reason to go and sit inside of McDonald's anymore because they don't have the
Do we
playground.
have news on this?
The Wendy's by Connor and I believe their dining room opened for the first time post-COVID 6 months ago.
132nd and Maple?
Yeah. I believe that dining room stayed closed for 4
Wow.
years
That's
post-COVID.
awesome. That's awesome.
Wow.
I don't know. I can't confirm or deny those rumors.
So for the longest time, and I don't know if it's the same way, over in West Des Moines, in Des Moines, Steak and Shake opened up.
Oh.
And for the longest time, it was just drive-through because they didn't have enough people to staff inside.
sure.
Well, that
But
steak
then
and
you
shake
couldn't
is
go. Where were you going to go? Unless, like, let's say you're traveling. Where were you going to go to eat one of those burgers? You going to eat in your car? You got to go and pull in the parking
Yeah.
spot and eat it?
Steak and Shake. Steak and Shake is the classic place, and they do dress it up nicely to the point where you do want to sit down in there and you want to eat. but how many actual fast food places are you actually like, no, I want to eat in the dining room? I don't really want to like eat in a Wendy's or a Burger King or a McDonald's. I'm not going out of my way to do it. I would much prefer to pick up the food and go home.
I could
eat it
sit in front of my
let me
TV
tell you-
and
or
eat
eat it
this.
in my
Yeah.
Let me tell you
car.
what makes a difference to me. I like when the fast food restaurant inside, they have the microphone, the big long microphone to the back, and they say, "This guy wants a burger." You know, I like when they say that, and you can hear it, and then that tells the
2 double cheeseburgers, 1 fry.
Nice.
Whoa!
2 double cheeseburgers, 1 fry.
That's pretty good.
How'd you do that?
And then,
Order.
all right, stop. And then that tells the people in the back to start making my hamburger, and that feels nice. I like that. McDonald's doesn't have that.
You got it.
Runza has that still.
Yep.
You got to go to Portillo's.
Oh,
You
I
gotta
love
Portillo's.
Portillo's.
my buddy went to
Yeah.
Portillo's this weekend.
I love
I was jealous.
Portillo's.
Order 787, your order from heaven. Order 787, your order from heaven.
Nice.
You almost sound like you've worked there before.
It almost sounds like I went there 3 to 4 times a week for I don't know 5 to 6 years.
Wow. Last time I went there, I got a hat.
Order
Is that
order order
Okay,
188, your stuff will be great. Order 188, your stuff will be great.
Nice. They make rhymes.
Did you get a paper hat or
Yeah,
like
I got
a regular hat?
I got a paper
Okay,
hat.
okay.
Yeah, no. I did want some merch though. You know they sell merch at Broncos too. I was interested.
You don't really see a lot of Broncos merchandise around town.
Maybe they should. Maybe you should.
Like summertime, you're at Maha and you like look over and a guy's wearing a Broncos t-shirt. You're like, hey, where'd you get that?
That's cool.
Did you get that from the vintage store?
Josh would buy that. Josh has a lot of he likes shirts.
Well,
I
we
would.
found that website that one day,
Uh-huh.
Vintage Omaha,
yeah.
that's got like
all the radio stations.
all the
Yeah.
old
Oh,
radio
that's awesome.
stations,
Yeah.
Peony Park,
I bought an Indian Hills t-shirt.
I had
Ranch
to-
Bowl.
Mhm.
I exhibited incredible self-restraint at the world's largest truck stop because I really
They got a lot
wanted.
of stuff there.
I wanted to buy a lot of things there.
They got a lot of
You
stuff.
know, I wanted to buy stuff for my truck, and I didn't even own a truck. You know,
It's a problem.
it's like, wow, this is an air fryer. There's like a deep fryer. There's like kitchen utensils for trucks. I was like, kind of want to buy this.
Jordan tweets in, do you remember young Matt when the Wendy's dining room looked like this?
Sunroom, all
That-
yellow cups.
You got it.
Yeah.
You
No.
got it. Yeah. It's a different time.
I remember the days.
I think it still looks like that in Lincoln, potentially
Oh, wow.
downtown.
The one on the corner?
The one in the corner.
Right
no,
downtown.
No, that one in Lincoln.
Did they
on
do
Q?
a redo?
on Q?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no. That doesn't look like that.
Oh man, I've been out of college for too long.
Yeah, I mean it's more red and it's all situated. That place though is the worst serviced place I've ever been to in my entire life. Like you will just, if you order a burger, like you could be there for 2 minutes, you could be there for 35, and I've been there for both. So there you go. But
Well,
Bring back the playgrounds and more people go and sit inside your restaurant.
This is
Chick-fil-A
not
has
far
the
from the truth.
Chick-fil-A has the playground.
Chick-fil-A, I think, is one of the only modern fast food restaurants where I would actively sit in the restaurant and eat there. I think everywhere else, I'm in and out. I'm gone. I just want to eat at home.
Yeah, it's all situational, I guess. It's all situational. So I'm not likely to sit
I
inside.
don't think they want you loitering. They put the thing only
Yeah.
30 minutes. Don't steal our internet. You know,
Yeah.
some places now they have it like it's shut off after 30 minutes and they make you leave.
Wow, really?
They're like, go to a coffee shop. That's what they want. Oh, like there's more and more in bigger cities. Like they will, you get 30 minutes of free internet and then it's off and you're done for the day.
At what kind of place do they do that?
Like fast food joints
Really?
that might be in areas that are heavy traffic.
Wow, like a McDonald's? They're like
Like
here's-
a McDonald's in the urban city.
Wow.
Where you get a lot of business people and then you get people that are just looking to get out of the cold and also want to get on the internet, check their email,
Yeah.
Check their Hotmails
But
or
you
their
better
AOLs.
do it in 30 minutes.
check their stocks,
check-
do a
check
little
their-
day trading.
Check their Yahoos. Get on their E-Trader.
Better do it in 30 minutes, otherwise you're out of there.
Well, I
See-
failed
see
today. I
if,
thought it would make you moan, but I think you should try it once.
I would try it. If somebody fried up
Hello.
Uncrustable here and brought it to me, I would eat it. I would like it less than a
Yeah, of course. The classic Happer. Someone else has to do it for him. He can't do it himself.
Well, what
So
am I supposed to do?
someone-
I don't see
someone-
I don't see no fryer
Yeah,
around
someone
me.
always got to do it for Happer.
Why would I willingly take an Uncrustable
Yeah.
and then deep fat fry it to make it worse?
Or better. You don't know.
I do know.
You don't know.
I don't think you know.
I don't think you know.
I know.
I think you and I are in the same boat where we assume it is worse, but at the same time, you don't
Were
know.
you saying that about
Have you
a hot dog on a stick, and then they made it a corn dog, and you're like, this is the greatest thing?
I was fortunately born after corn dogs were invented, so I never had to think about that.
Was that something that you had to think about?
Little Connor
Did
was
you-
walking around with a hot dog on a stick, and then all of a sudden they came up with this invention one day at a state fair somewhere.
Just where's my hot dog?
Were you a part of that generation, Gary? Where you were like, oh my God, that guy's got bread around his hot dog on a stick. What's going on? That guy's a weirdo.
But I wonder what the discourse on hot dog, corn dog would have been like during the time when corn dog was invented.
When do you think that discourse took place?
Well, let's find out.
Yeah.
When was the corn dog invented?
I love those TikToks where it's like one was walking invented.
It likely
then
emerged in the
running.
1940s with Stanley Jenkins filing a patent for a device to prepare fried food on a stick in 1927, and the Pronto Pup, a corn dog vendor, claiming to have invented the corn dog in 1939. So basically, right after that, the corn dog took off.
So right before the Second World War.
You think when guys came back from
That's
the
right.
war,
Okay.
they were like, I got to get a corn
Gotta
dog.
have a corn dog.
What's the first thing you're going to do when you get back on U.S. soil?
They were writing them
Corn dog.
letters about the corn dog.
You think
Dearest Mabel.
You
think-
have to try this.
You think that's why so many other countries were upset at us before World War II? Is because we had the corn dog first?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Did the corn? Hey, poll question: did the corn dog cause World War II?
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. Coincidence? Coincidence?
I mean, have you ever had a desire to go to another country and get a corn dog? Like when you go to Russia.
I
Never
have,
once.
I actually have had another a corn dog in another country. I went to Slovenia and had a corn dog there.
And wait a minute. What?
I was in Slovenia. I was playing hockey in Slovenia. I was in a European tournament because back in the day I used to be good at hockey, and traveled out to Europe. And we went to it was a Slovenian. It was like the Taste of Chicago, but it was the Taste of Slovenia. And
they had corn dog?
and I had a corn dog.
Well, it was miles and miles of borscht, you see. And the
They
only thing that
actually had
looked
a
good to
place-
him was corn dogs.
They had a very popular place there called Hot Horse.
and they served horse?
They serve horse?
And it was horse.
Okay.
You had horse
Sure.
burgers.
Hot horse, get you hot horse.
Exactly.
What part of the horse?
I did not ask and I did not eat.
You didn't eat any horse?
I did not know.
I would think if you go to Slovenia,
I don't know.
you got to eat a horse, right? Because you're not really eating a horse around here. There is no
Yeah.
If
horse
they
of a
told
course.
me, if they had a whole horse restaurant, I would eat it.
No, absolutely not. We're from America.
Uncrustable sounds
From-
bad to him.
Yeah.
But he'll eat a horse.
From America, we're
but hoof soup. You're like,
No, it's not
"Ooh."
made of the hoof. Dear God.
Boy, I bet that
I got
broth
big
is
hoofs.
awesome.
I got the biggest hoofs you've ever seen. My hooves are bigger than yours. My massive hoofs.
I mean, if I was in Slovenia and they were like, "Hey, we eat horse," even if they were lying, I'd be like, you know what? All right.
We were with about 40 Americans, and nobody indulged in having the hot horse.
Wow. They probably didn't look kindly upon you American hockey players.
No, that's why we came in second.
Did they boo the anthem?
No. No, we did get some weird looks though when we were skating. They had like a little presentation. We were skating around with the American flag, and we got some scolding
I bet
looks from
You
people.
didn't eat our horse. That's what they were saying.
You come back here and you eat our horse. You
I mean,
disrespectful pieces.
There
of...
is protocol. Like if they offer the horse and you don't eat the horse, I can see why they'd be upset.
Yeah, they
Me
didn't.
too.
They didn't bring like a beautiful Spitfire horse and put it on the table, and we're like, "Hello, thank you for coming here. We offer our greatest calf."
They
You
didn't.
know,
They didn't roll up in a trailer and go dinner.
No, we didn't say we want the Colt special.
It's not that serious. You know, they're mass produced. That's what you're saying.
Speaking
I
of Colts,
guess.
Chris Ballard is hating this interview on Up and Adams because it's hot and he is profusely sweating.
He really is. He's sweating through
Yeah.
that polo.
Has he had work
Yeah.
done?
10 o'clock in the morning.
Holy Botox Ballard! Look at him. Like his face is not
He's
moving.
jacked. He's got the veins popping.
Look at
out.
him.
He's looking good.
His face is
doing
like
it for
numb.
K though.
Yeah, he is. Kay Adams just signed off
Look at him.
the show by saying peace.
I know I'm not Shams, but
Peace.
It's a great show.
Welcome to
Hey,
television.
I mean, she should be fired up because Chris Ballard signed her boyfriend,
Who?
Daniel Jones.
they're not
oh,
dating.
she loves Daniel Jones. That's right. Yeah. Yep. All right. Bye, guys.
Have a good show. Good luck. You get, 30 minutes of Royals baseball today while you're on the air?
That's right. Well, it starts at 1:10. We're already logged into our Bally's Sports.
If they don't
FanDuel Sports
beat
Network.
the 0-3 Brewers, is there going to be a little panic?
Well, they'll have their game for euchre, It's an emotional
So you've already
day.
given up today, so you'll be 1-3.
And there's already one guy on the Brewers who's using a torpedo bat, so I'm worried about that.
Are you
worried about that?
How many torpedo bats are they getting currently shipped to Kansas City right now?
All the torpedo bats. Michael Garcia is playing center field. I don't know what they're gonna do. They have this Jonathan India, Michael Garcia, Michael Massey thing, and it's all I don't know what's gonna happen.
I'm guessing Jonathan India is out today after getting hit in the head.
No, he's in.
He is playing?
Yeah, he's playing.
Wow, what a warrior.
He's playing. Emmanuel Clase, you can't kill him.
That'll be fun when the Guardians and the Royals play next. See what Vinny P does.
He's playing third base today. Playing third base. All right. See you guys later.
Have a good one.
That's Crossover. Powered by Everlevel Concrete. Repair at Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. We'll start things off on a Monday next.
That's the Crossover. The Connor Happer Show is next on 1620 The Zone.
Staying cool to start the week Monday. Expect clouds in the morning with more afternoon sunshine with a light north breeze. Highs in the low to mid 50s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
Is your concrete cracked or uneven? Hey everyone, Coach Greg McDermott here to explain why you should
It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620, The Zone.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Happy Monday. It's the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Josh Odson with you, back from a weekend. Hopefully, your weekend went just as chalky as the NCAA tournament this weekend. Hopefully, everything went as planned, and there were none of those rascally upsets that threw your weekend off. Josh, everything smooth and easy for you?
Yeah. All things considered.
All things considered. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Little chalk on the Riverwalk.
Little chalk on the Riverwalk. That's what's going to happen at the Final Four coming up this weekend, where all 4 1 seeds are in there. And maybe now we'll get some good games.
Better late than never.
Maybe now we'll get some good games. You could convince me that any combination of the 2 Final Four games, end up producing whatever national championship we get. Really, I think the point spreads are like what 4.5, and I thought it was 4.5 for Duke, and then it was 2.5 for Florida. I think they should just make them both pick'ems.
Ooh.
Really. I mean, I think, they're going to be good games. And you would have even money on both sides leading into our national championship game, which we will have, of course, on Monday. Mike Schaefer will join today in about an hour. We'll talk some football with him, some football recruiting, some spring football, which is happening. Nebraska football is back in action this week. 3 practices this week. Slacking Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. I'll hear from some members of the Husker coaching staff and football players this week. Sam McKewon will join us at 1. That's the lineup powered by the Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard. We'd love to hear from you all today on the show, 402-951-1620 on the hotline. Call or text that number. Tweet at Happer Show, at Connor Happer on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Email ConnorJoshShow at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. And we say good morning to the YouTube streamers. What's up, brother? Plaquette says 1620 the Sportsbook with another banger of an idea. Yeah, that's right. I know nothing about odds and how they're made and things like that, but 1620 the Sportsbook says make them both pick'ems and see what happens. I'm sure there's a reason why it's 4.5 and 2.5, but it's up for me to criticize, not to agree with. Josh.
That's
what I'm
sometimes
saying.
you got to zag as a business.
Exactly. That's what we're doing here. Today's March 31st, which, yes, is indeed a day. March 31st exists.
30 days has September, April, June, and November.
Yep. It's March 31st. It's not April 1st. March 31st. That's a real day. And because it's a real day, we will have our top 5 poll questions of the month of March today on the show. That'll happen at about 12:45. Looking forward to whatever. Were we funny this month? Does it feel like we were funny this month?
There was a stretch where we weren't.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't feel like myself last week either.
I feel like we started and ended the month kind of pretty good.
Okay. Because man, I didn't feel I was at my best last week.
You didn't.
I didn't feel like I was at my best last. Maybe we started it well, and then
ran out of steam.
I guess. All right. So maybe as the new month comes along, we can get it back a little bit. Elsewhere on the show today, we're talking torpedo bats, ladies and gentlemen. Torpedo bats.
Learned a lot about bats this weekend.
Last year at this time, we were talking about jerseys and how the numbers were too small on the uniforms in Major League Baseball. Now it's about how teams are trying to re-engineer baseball to make it so bad hitters who continually get jammed off of the handle of the bat or off the label at the bat simply said, I don't want to make an adjustment anymore. I would just like it to work for me. So let's pay an MIT scientist to come in and say, all right, how about this? Move the barrel so it is now in the place where you would normally be getting jammed. Everything's
what a concept.
All the kids these days, they got ChatGPT. They do their homework on ChatGPT. It's nonsense. Everything is plagiarized. Everything was already, and now they are paying MIT scientists to come in and change barrels of bats so they go from being bad hitters to good hitters without doing anything at all, taking the easy way out. Classic kids.
And then Aaron Judge is getting lumped in with these guys.
Yeah, but Aaron Judge is like,
why would my numbers?
Yeah, why would any good hitter ever do this? Because they know how to put the barrel on the ball. They would never do that. It doesn't make sense for them to do that. So when Jazz Chisholm and Volpe do it on the Yankees, and those were like the main two culprits of this deal. We'll talk about this in a minute. But Jazz Chisholm and Volpe do it, and they went from being like
mid as hell,
a lot of soft contact to a lot of hard contact this weekend. Yeah, you start asking some questions. So we'll discuss that on the show today. Maybe we'll do that coming up here in just a couple minutes. Nebraska baseball hilariously wins their first weekend series of the year, taking 2 out of 3 from Oregon State. I really wish I would have predicted that because I could have seen it coming from a mile away.
Makes a lot of sense in hindsight.
It does. We'll explain why coming up today on the show. Welcome to the Crown. 7:30 tonight. The
Greatest
Crown is
day
here.
in sports today.
While I really don't care about the existence of the Crown or anything like that, anytime there's somebody in my sphere of influence who's in Las Vegas, I immediately get jealous. So
Nick Baugh, you're jealous of him?
Anybody who's down there with Nebraska basketball.
Oh, okay.
I see a picture of Vegas and I'm like, hold on. What's going on? One day I'll get over that by just going to Vegas more and more and more. We do have 4 1 seeds in the Final Four. Kevin Willard actually did leave Maryland to go to Villanova.
Finally.
Dana Holgerson details his very cool trips with Tom Chattel. I thought that was a really good idea for a column. Morgan Wallen skips hugging people. He's a huge loser. And I have a bit idea, Josh. Grade this thought right off the bat. I don't know if you've seen this. I don't know if you heard about this yet. Here's my idea.
Lay it on me.
Last night I was on Wikipedia and I was reading through a Wikipedia page and I thought, how did I get to this Wikipedia page and start reading through all of it? And then I thought, I do this a lot. Why don't we have a random Wikipedia page of the night? Anytime either of us find ourselves reading a random Wikipedia page and wondering, how did I end up here? We turn it into a bit on the show. Last night, I read the entire Wikipedia page of the Big Dig in Boston where they built the interstate underground. It took 30 years. Why? I don't know. Wikipedia. That place rules.
Have you ever visited the Twitter page Depths of Wikipedia?
No.
It is a person who basically does that, but it's like the weirdest.
No, it doesn't have to be that way. It's just like random.
I understand the difference between the two bits, but yeah.
Okay.
I like our idea.
Do you end up on Wikipedia?
Yes.
Random Wikipedia pages sometimes?
Yes, of course. I'm an American.
Many of the Wikipedia pages that I end up visiting are from like airline disasters or like highways, roads, like that kind of it's transportation. I visit transportation Wikipedia a lot. Like history is like, how did these roads get here? Or what happened to these planes? And how about this airport? You know, things like that. When did they do that? I don't know how I got to the Big Dig.
I always find myself on the movies Wikipedia page, trying to find out who hated who while filming.
Okay, cool.
Hey, did you know Tommy Lee Jones hated Jim Carrey on the set of Batman Forever?
Interesting. There you go.
Couldn't stand the guy.
Kevin writes in on Twitter.
Hi, Kevin.
Your Wikipedia bit would be so much funnier if it was completely out of context and you gave no explanation of how I got there. Well, lucky for you, Kevin, I have no idea how I got there. I don't know how I clicked on the Wikipedia page of the Big Dig, but I read it. I read the whole thing. That's just example number 1. just wait until the Wikipedia page of the night, continues on further and further. Speaking of movies, Josh, you have something to announce for today, an important factoid that is close to the show.
Want to congratulate Tommy Boy for turning 30 today. That's right. 30 years ago today, you were probably paying $4.50 to walk in and see the new Chris Farley, David Spade movie. And it turned out you loved it.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying our Dumb and Dumber quotes have to turn into Tommy Boy quotes today?
For one day,
All right.
I think it would be fitting. Tommy Boy was on a couple of times this weekend.
I think we have to. All right. I think we can make that sacrifice for one day.
Yeah.
Indeed. All right. Welcome to the show, everybody. We're very happy that you're with us. I've already received an email from Colin in White Plains about the bats. About the torpedo.
I'll bet he's got takes.
And there was a lot of exclamation points in the headline. So we'll get to that on the other side. Like I said, glad you're with us here on a Monday. And we still have a long way to go. A long road in front of us.
Long road to hoe?
Just as they did in Tommy Boy when they had a road trip a lot. There was a deer in their car. He was alive.
He was.
There's no deer in here today. Back after this on 1620 The Zone. Colin of White Plains emails in on the Equitable Bank inbox.
Hi, Colin.
The Yankees, all caps, 6 exclamation points.
6.
I think so.
Wow.
Double check that. Connor, do you want to take back that bat bleep horrible take that the Yankees won't make the playoffs? Well, we're 3 games in, so I'm going to go ahead and stand for now. I think the Yankees should petition the NFL to play in their league because they score too much for Major League Baseball. And then there's a graphic that says most home runs through the first 3 games of a season in MLB history. The Yankees, with their 15 this weekend, tied the 2006 Detroit Tigers, who also had 15 and then went on to play in the World Series in 2006. Most home runs in a first 3 game stretch in MLB history. The other teams who have been close to that, 13 by the 19 Dodgers, they won the NL West, and 11 by the 2011 Rangers, they also went to the World Series. So, the Yankees this weekend, the New York Yankees, are at the center of a debate about the sport's newest and coolest thing to debate.
It was on Good Morning America this morning.
I bet it was. It's a human interest story.
Yeah.
They opened up against the Milwaukee Brewers, and in 3 wins this weekend, the Yankees of New York scored 36 runs and hit 15 home runs. So before we talk about torpedoes and tornadoes and all the kind of things, does the fact that the New York Yankees are at the center of this controversy make a difference?
100%.
It does.
If it was...
It does. It absolutely does.
The Marlins, nobody would care.
Well, I'm glad you brought the Marlins up because the MIT professor that the Yankees hired to change these bad hitters' bats into, bats that make them good hitters, he now works for the Miami Marlins, coincidentally
There
enough.
you go. He can get Jake Berger a better bat.
I say it is also notable that the Yankees, as we've previously discussed in this program many, many times, play in a tiny baby ballpark.
Oh, that's right. They do. People forget.
Tiny, tiny, tiny baby ballpark.
Who was it? Even Joe Buck said that on opening day.
He's like, wow.
Fly ball to right. Oh, it's over the fence because we're in a tiny baby ballpark.
It's just gone. Certainly more noteworthy, right? That it's the New York Yankees.
Villains.
At the same time, they hit 15 home runs. And they also hit 9 of them in 1 game. Out of the 100-plus year history of the New York Yankees, never have they hit 9 home runs in a single game until Saturday against the Saturday against the Milwaukee Brewers.
First 3 pitches.
Yes, first 3 pitches were all home runs. They hit 9 of them in 1 game. So last year, the Yankees hired a real-life MIT physicist who figured out that he said, I have an opinion. He said, he said, I have an idea. And the idea is we have a hitter who Anthony Volpe is really at the center of this. He was the person who this is sort of initially created for. And the idea was, hey, MIT physicist, could you please help me? I'm hitting a lot of baseballs off of the label of the bat, which is closer to the handle. I'm getting jammed. Or I'm not getting it on the barrel the way I want it to. And so a normal person's response to that would have been, hello, hitting coach. Could you help me? How do I do this? How do I get the barrel on the ball a little bit more? And the Yankees' response was, it can't be your fault. We have to change the baseball bat. So the MIT physicist comes in and he's like, well, I got an idea. There's nothing in the rule book that says we can't move the barrel toward the label of the bat and make the bat look like a ridiculous torpedo. There's nothing in the rule book that says this is illegal.
What if the bat looked more like a bowling pin?
What if the bat looked more like a bowling pin? Is it completely ridiculous that they changed the dimensions of a bat? Yes. Is it illegal? No. And so Anthony Volpe had a pretty nice weekend, and including hitting at least 1 home run, maybe a couple. He said afterwards, after the torpedo bats have become the center of the talk in the sports world, he said, quote, "It's probably just placebo." Mr. Volpe, I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right. So the fact here is that they moved the barrel of the baseball bat closer to the handle of the bat, and before that was going to be soft contact. There was one specifically this weekend that Jazz Chisholm hit. Jazz Chisholm was also using the torpedo bat that, he kind of got it on his hands a little bit. It would have been a ground ball to second base, and instead it, is a burning shot through the middle of the infield because he got a better piece of wood on it. And so it is different. Now, I've also seen this take out there. In fact, you know what? I'll just put this person up here because I just saw this.
Okay.
And the other thing that's happening right now is people don't understand what's going on. So there's this guy on the Bus Boys, JP. Have we heard of JP?
JP Lossman?
He is one of Will Compton's
boys.
People. Yeah.
He's of the bussin' with the boys.
He says torpedo bats are the best thing to happen to baseball, and I honestly can't believe it took this long for a team to do. Complaining about it is useless. Every team has the opportunity to do the same thing, and it would benefit every organization. Home runs equal revenue. So,
wow, there's a lot to unpack in that statement.
Yeah. So the torpedo bat does not give you the ability to hit, does not magically give you the ability to hit home runs. As we heard from many real life good hitters this weekend, why would I do this? I know how to get the barrel on the baseball.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't affect me. Why would I move the barrel of my bat to make it closer to the label of the bat when I'm already getting the barrel on the baseball? It's very, very easy. It doesn't make you hit home runs.
No. Now
it is a quick fix for someone who needs to do something different at the plate. People are acting like this is going to take over the game, that this is the next great innovation in baseball. Let me tell you something. It ain't.
No.
It is absolutely not. It's a great tool for these hitters to have in the short term, but they will have to yet make another adjustment as time goes on. It's not like it's not the baseball bat can't make you a good hitter. That's not how baseball works.
Anthony Volpe, who's one of these guys using the torpedo bat.
The guy, I would say.
He has 2 hits this season. They are both home runs. Not going to be enough. Very small sample size.
Right. But he hit 2. Right.
He did hit 2 home runs. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So keep all this in mind. You're going to, as the sports talk, machine fires back up this week.
Stephen A. Smith is going to talk about this. Stephen A. Smith has no idea what baseball even is.
Yep. As that machine starts getting fired up back up this week, you're going to hear a lot of things about torpedo bats. And I would probably say that, my first reaction is just that sample size is probably always going to be a little bit better in baseball because you're going to play every single day. And there are going to be some things that are true after 3 games that are not true after 15 games and that are especially not true after 115 games. So keep that in mind. And there is no... I know this was ironically, this was a line in Moneyball. You can't math baseball. You can't science baseball. You can't, there's no quick fixes, right? The sample size is so great in this sport that the truth will reveal itself over a long period of time. And so I would just keep that in mind for anybody who wants to talk about how this is going to revolutionize the game.
Now, would it shock anyone if this afternoon young Rafael Devers had one of those bats?
Big fat fatty Rafael Devers?
That's right.
You talking about that guy?
12 strikeouts.
Mr. I can't not play third base.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Good look for that guy.
I suspect him having a torpedo bat this afternoon. Had that thing overnighted.
Probably. All right, couple comments from you guys. We'll get to those on the other side. But just so you know, that's what the sports talk world wants to talk about today. bats and how they look weird. And how
Did you know the bat could be any shape?
I didn't
until this weekend.
No, I didn't.
There were people that
there
cover this sport for a living who were like,
there have been many shapes of bats
yeah.
throughout the history of time. I just thought it was more standardized than it is. It's not. All right, so we'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
We are back.
Back.
The murder coaches are back.
September.
That's a long time from now, Josh. It's a long time from now. It's March 31st. It's opening day in Milwaukee today.
Okay.
Well, the Royals are visiting, and it'll be the first. There will be some eulogizing of Bob Uecker today.
Oh yeah, okay, sure.
Obviously, that's why.
First home game for them. Yeah, okay.
Yep, I just saw a picture that Rex Hudler tweeted from the Brewers radio booth. There's a bunch of flowers, and I'm sure they've dressed up the Uecker seats quite well up top. They have his signature cursived into the outfield.
Oh, the outfield.
Into the outfield grass. Yeah. Which is pretty cool. So, we'll have a little bit of day baseball on today. They start at 1:00, 1:10. I suppose it is, Josh.
We'll have it on in here.
Yeah. As of right now, we're getting all the other fantastic content that the Bally's FanDuel sports book and casino and app has for us. And today it's the Eric Hosmer podcast.
Oh, hell yeah.
So if I turned it on TV, would this be on channel 47 right now?
No way, right?
I don't know. It gives you whatever it gives you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Mike Moustakas and Eric Hosmer right now are talking to a guest on their podcast. Is this on live TV? I have no idea. I have no idea.
What is TV anymore?
I don't know. Maybe TV is just a collection of podcasts now. That's what radio is, I guess. We have found.
Technically, yes.
Yeah. All right, welcome back here on a Monday. Hope everybody enjoyed their weekend. Hope you enjoyed it more than Morgan Wallen enjoyed his time in New York City this weekend.
This idiot. If only some handsome radio producer had warned you all about this man in advance, then you wouldn't have problems like we're having today.
Well, I don't know. A lot of people seem to enjoy the fact that Morgan Wallen did not enjoy New York.
Well,
get me back to God's country.
I would have a question for Mr. Wallen. Are you such a dumbass that you didn't know where Saturday Night Live was filmed? Did you think this was a live episode at like the Grand Ole Opry or something?
I think he probably told himself, they are offering me a large sum of money to do this, and I will do it, and I will be miserable the entire time, and then I will leave and go home.
Oh, okay. So money trumps your own personal values and core belief system.
I think he would probably admit that to you.
Okay.
I mean, he has to have the self-awareness at this point to be able to admit something.
As long as he does, that's fine with me. Sounds like it was not a fun week in whatever Studio 8H or wherever it is they filmed.
I am very much looking forward to anyone from the cast commentary on this. I watched none of the show whatsoever.
I didn't either.
I just saw the afterwards, and I had never seen a host just walk off the stage before.
Could we get
no handshakes, no hugs, no happy to be here, just out of here immediately to the PJ, probably at Teterboro, and saying, please get me back home to Nashville where people actually are normal.
Not even like a look to the balcony and a wave where like, okay,
no.
I'm leaving, just
straight
boom.
Out.
Credits are rolling. I'm walking out the front door.
Yeah. So this guy sucks. I mean, 100%. 100% loser.
I cannot wait until Bowen Yang tells us everything that happened.
Like, if you knew you were going to hate it, if you knew you weren't going to enjoy it, just probably don't do it.
Yeah. It's fine.
I can't believe the line, though. Give me back to God's country.
God's country.
Like, I need it so bad. These people are sucking the air out of my life. I need God's country.
These city slickers.
Yeah. That's crazy.
God.
That's like people were telling me, like, oh, no, you can't go to New York. It's bad and dirty.
You'll get mugged on the subway.
It's just normal. It's just people. They're just a little angrier than us. That's okay. I was not thinking, please get me back to God's country. 2 days deep into my trip in New York City.
100% his next album will have a song called God's Country on it, right?
I mean, I think that's probably already been a country song maybe 45 times over at this point.
Every country song is somebody else's country song now.
But I don't.
It's fine.
I mean, there's definitely already been huge country hits by the name of God's country before.
I would assume.
No, there is. I can confirm that. Okay. I know of one right off the top of my head. There's probably multiple.
It's just interesting because Morgan Wallen keeps showing you who he is. What if he making more and more money every time he does?
What if he made a song called "My Week in New York"?
My Week in New York.
What do you think it'd be about?
I think it would be a lot like that time John Rocker told us about his week in New York.
Yeah, a lot of opinions on it.
He's got some takes,
some things buried in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of taking trips to places,
Very quickly before you jump to another topic, I just want to read Dave. I think he hit it on the head here. Walking off that show smells like performative BS to appeal to a certain section of fans.
Totally.
Very succinct, Dave. Very intelligent as always.
Yeah. I mean, think about it.
You could have walked out the back door. You could have not posted on social
like I
media.
said, think about what I just said and all the people who are lauding him for this, and they're like, dang, that guy just loves us.
He gets it.
He loves us.
One of us. They not like us.
And New York City is just, it's never going to be the place for him.
Try that in a small town, Bowen Yang.
And so he actually does it. He actually walks off the stage. He doesn't care about the glitz and the glam of New York City. It doesn't matter to him. He cares about home.
Just needs a bush latte and his dog.
Yeah. What a weirdo. What a weirdo. Dana Holgerson.
Holgo the Oko?
Oh yeah, he loves taking trips. So this has been one of the things I have been most excited for this entire offseason. Who is going to write the story about Dana Holgerson's trips over the offseason? Remember the graphic that we all saw during the historic Bad Boy Motors Pinstripe Bowl, Josh? All the places that he went.
So many.
Paris, French Riviera, Monaco, Bordeaux, London, Jamaica, Puerto Vallarta, Cabo, Tulum, Cancun, Atlantis, Baja Mar. Yes, he went to the city under the fake city, Atlantis. Aspen, Napa, Malibu, Salt Lake City, and Charleston. All of those places are the places that Dana Holgerson went the year that he was fired by the Houston Cougars. And this is something that I've been thinking about a lot. Who is going to write this story and who's going to provide us with any more context on this that we could get? And the answer to that question is Tom Chattel.
Of course.
Thank you, Tom. It's appreciated. Pulls him to the side after the press conference. He goes, we got to talk about this. Dana Holgerson's like, okay, so I will read you some of the quotes. All right. This will be the next 10 to 15 minutes of the show in case anybody was interested. By the way, on the Morgan Wallen topic, somebody commented in, wow, do you really care about this that much? No, but I thought it was funny. So
we talk about things that people are talking about.
People are talking about it. All right.
Also, Morgan Wallen is a not nice person.
There you go. Josh likes to say that a lot.
I do. It's a bit.
Holgerson said after he did his press conference last Thursday to Tom Chattel, quote, I never thought France would be the first country I would visit. I had to be in the French Riviera for a gathering. I ended up going to Paris, took the train down there and went to Monaco, came back home, and coincidentally enough, a good friend of mine wanted to go to Bordeaux because he's a big wine guy. So we went to Bordeaux for a few days. Bordeaux was cool. We went there 3 or 4 wineries that were top notch. There were 8 or 9 of us. It was super cool. Then we popped over to London. I'd never been to London. I think we're going to go to Italy this summer. There may be an F1 Formula 1 opportunity over there. Interesting.
Nick.
Yeah, we'll unpack that in a second. Whether it's wine or F1, it's just more human interest, seeing the countryside. The years I spent with Mike Leach, he traveled the world, Holgerson said. His human interest, or just the world, his human interest of the world was incredible. I traveled a lot with him, but he was going to Europe all the time. Just hearing all of his stories inspired me to want to see the world. I've been everywhere in the United States, the Caribbean, Central America, made a couple stops in South America, but I had never been to Europe. I'd always say Europe's going to be there when I retire, and then I got fired. What's the difference? I just had time. That's from Dana Holgerson. And then there's some football stuff that, of course, he said last week as well. But we don't care about this much for the sake of the conversation. I love how he described it seemed as if he was just He wasn't really aiming to do anything.
Yeah, like it was a lazy river, and it was like, okay, wherever Europe is taking me, that's where I'm going. You're a wine guy? You want to go see some wine? Okay, sure.
Yeah. Bumps into a guy and is like, wait, so you're telling me this Bordeaux's got some stuff? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to tell you about this Bordeaux place. Why don't you come with me? But he started in France. It was like, you know what? I think I'll go to France. He went to France, tried some wine, ended up at the French Riviera, ended up going to Paris, went to Monaco, came back home, and then went right back to Bordeaux and headed back to France. 2 France trips. Then he did the London thing, and now he's found himself into F1 races. Apparently, I mean, this is just this is the kind of worldliness I want out of my offensive coordinator.
That's right, Connor.
This is like a 2 wins above replacement value for Dana Holgerson going into next year.
Because it's not, oh, I got to see the world. Here's my regimented schedule of how I will see the world. It was just wherever the world takes me.
Yep, that's what I'm talking about. Doesn't that make you believe that he will take whatever offense Nebraska has next year and morph it into whatever it needs to be? Not necessarily that he's going to pigeonhole something into, that he's going to be this air raid, whatever offense. I know people still like to say Dana Holgerson and the air raid, how the air raid will never work in the Big Ten and all these things. No, I think his worldliness actually tells you a lot about him as a person and tells you a little bit about him as an offensive coordinator as well. I'm dead serious. I know this is very sports talky and something that you would hear like Stephen A. Smith say, but like, I love this. I love the fact that he did all those things and went all of those places, and the context in which he went to all those places was just random. And it was just like, yeah, I think so. That sounds fun. I think I'll go there. That sounds like a really good idea. Let's make the most out of it.
Say yes to life.
I have all year. I am rich. Houston has paid me handsomely to not be the coach there. Let's go. I love it. Let's take a phone call here on the hotline. Here is Caleb. Hey, Caleb. Good morning. How are you?
What's up, Connor? It's Caleb. I don't know if you remember me back then, but we did the poll of 4 kids were too many. This is that Caleb, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
4 kids. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes, I do remember now. Thank you, Caleb. What's up?
And I magically had the Borat impression that came out of nowhere. But no, I appreciate you taking my call. Just had a couple things here talking about Holgerson. I've been a big Rule fan really since the hire. I love what he brings to the table. But one of my biggest things that I was always kind of fighting against with his mindset was, hey, we're going to be great at defense and we're just going to have an offense. And to me, it was kind of a defeatist attitude, like, hey, we're just going to go out and have kind of a standard offense. And with the resources that Nebraska has, with this Holgerson hire, it gives me more confidence in where Rule wants to take us and being able to adapt. And I also think Holgerson, from a standpoint as a Nebraskan, I think he speaks really well. He's just so matter of fact. I think I could listen to that guy 24 hours a day if I really could. And then also, adding Pat Stewart, I think almost may help us keep Holgerson if he, wants to stick around and just be a play caller, because, the guy doesn't have to recruit. He won't have to deal with NIL. He won't have to deal with negotiations. He can literally just stay in his office and program an amazing offense. So I think that'll help us in the future. Maybe not keep Holgerson forever, but keep offensive coordinators around a little bit longer.
Caleb, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. And so it's definitely one of the under talked about story. People always do that, like, oh, this isn't being talked about enough. But think about it. Nebraska has an offensive coordinator right now who, he talked about it last week. He spent a month in his office while every other coach, or all the coaches that could be, the 9 or whatever that you could send on the road at a time, they were out on the road recruiting. It's something that the offensive coordinator would have had to do in the past. Nebraska and other programs around the country, every other program around the country is allowed to have infinity assistant coaches. And basically it gives you the freedom to have a system in your program where you have coaches And then you have recruiters. And the recruiters can either be your coaches, be your position coaches. I think that really connects, and that really, it's impactful. I think when the linebacker coach is the one recruiting you and you're going to be playing for it, like it's impactful, right? But for a position such as a coordinator spot, an offensive coordinator spot, okay, the assistant coaches, they go out on the road and they recruit the players and they identify the players, and the GM helps figure out how much money each of those players is going to, slot in for and things like that. And the offensive coordinator, especially who's in a position like Dana Holgerson is, who is old enough now and is experienced enough where he knows exactly what his role is and what his job is and what he's good at, what he's supposed to be doing. His time is better spent not going out on the road, wasting his time recruiting. I shouldn't have said wasting his time, but it is sitting at the desk and developing whatever offense you need to, given the weapons that you have. It's not a situation, obviously, that is unique to Nebraska. It's now, on the table for everybody, but it takes the right kind of person. And I think Nebraska has the right kind of person and the right people on its staff to kind of say, all right, Dana Holgerson, you are the head coach of the offense and you get to call the shots of the offense, and the people on your staff underneath you are responsible for recruiting and developing relationships with those players and then coaching them into your program, all while coming under your leadership and your tutelage and, your plan for those individual players. I think it's cool. I think it's a good thing, So we oftentimes talk about all of the new assistant coaches in college football and all the money in college football and how there's no rules in college football. And it's like, man, the sport is just so bloated. There's just so many coaches and so many people doing different things. How many times did we bring that up this offseason? Nebraska has a GM and they have, all these different positions on their staff. I mean, how many people do they have inside that football program that are getting paid by the university now? Hundreds. I mean, it's a gigantic staff. But when it comes under the right leadership and when it comes under the person who has a pretty good idea of exactly whose strengths are what and where you can get the most out of those players, those coaches, then it could really end up working for you.
Think of Holgo as the MIT nerd and the Nebraska offense as the New York Yankees.
Did he re-engineer a baseball bat to be able to do this?
Seems like that's the next step. We'll discover that this summer. He's reshaped the football.
Do you think they'll re-engineer aluminum bats so that college hitters will stop getting jammed? And
somebody's asking right now. They're sending emails to Easton and all the companies that make bats.
Can you make me a torpedo bat?
Can you do this? Speaking of the torpedo bat, Jazz Chisholm has commented.
Oh, he's been commenting. He loves commenting.
Well, he's still commenting here 10 minutes ago. Okay, explanation. The barrel is bigger and within regulation. For the idiots that say it's moved to the label, you're an idiot. Nobody's trying to get jammed. You just move the wood from the parts you don't use to the parts you do. You're welcome. No more stress for y'all.
Well, he just said two contradicting things.
That's right, Connor. He sure did.
All right. All while calling many people idiots.
First comment is, you could have just said, I'm not good enough to get the barrel to the ball, so I moved the barrel. And he immediately replied, been hitting the barrel since I traded. Wink, wink.
Been hitting the barrel since I traded.
Mm-hmm.
That's a sentence.
It is.
Okay. Well, maybe to his, I don't know what point he's trying to get across there, but maybe to his point, the ballpark factors do matter here.
See these numbers on the road.
He seems to be enjoying his time in New York. He seems to be enjoying his time as the villain of baseball. I think that too. One of the villains of baseball.
And I mean, he's got to enjoy not being in Miami playing baseball. I'm sure Miami's a nice place to be.
Kenneth writes in.
Hi, Kenneth.
Jazz Chisholm, noted fan of the Connor Happer show.
Oh,
I mean, like he just called me an idiot, basically.
Oh, okay.
Because that's what I think is going on here. Just moving things down a little bit more, right? I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's illegal. I'm just saying, there's a lot of people out there in baseball who have no problem getting the barrel to the baseball as the bat is currently constructed and doesn't need a torpedo bat to do so. Anyway, I love Dana Holgerson. That's what this segment's about, ladies and gentlemen.
Holgo the Oko. I like that guy.
Yep. Yeah, he had some things to say about football too. It's obviously a lot of stuff.
Football?
Yeah, last week with during his media session and talking about the air raid and not the air raid.
Not
and
the
all
air
those
raid.
things,
Don't
but
put it on the internet that he runs the air raid.
Yep. This is I think he's in a really good spot. I think I cannot wait to see if you're looking for reasons for optimism in 2025 surrounding the offense, I think it really starts with him.
He seems very relaxed and not, oh, this job is a pressure cooker.
You think about all the coaches who, I mean, we could bring this up directly with Frost, right? Because as I've said for a long time, I think that guy loves and is good at being an offensive coordinator. I think he's an excellent, excellent play caller. I really do. But he had risen to the point in his career where he's just like, well, I got to be the head coach, And Dana Holgerson is just on the backside of that. Scott's a young coach. Dana Holgerson has just risen, he had been a head coach, been chewed up and spit out and decided, actually, yeah, everybody was right about that. I should just be an offensive coordinator. And so I think there's a real acceptance of all that stuff. It's a guy who's really comfortable in his own shoes. And understands why he's here. And I think Nebraska is very, 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 very happy to have him, obviously. All right, we'll be back. Mike Schaefer will join us on the other side. We can talk about torpedo bats with him. Wyatt's closer is hitting Royals in the head.
That's what I want you two to talk about. I don't really care what else you talk about.
Maybe some fried peanut butter jelly sandwiches. Who knows? Coming up with Schaefer on 1620 The Zone.
Come the Guardians.
Yeah, I have statistics to back up that we have people that listen.
Mike Schaefer.
Anytime there's sort of a debate as to who can do something, Happer would always put his name forth, for sure.
Husker 24/7 on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
I could be a star.
And we're joined now on the hotline by our good friend Mike Schaefer of Husker 247. He joins us now. Hi, Schaefer. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
How was your I'm good. How was your first weekend of the baseball season having to watch through the FanDuel Sports Network and on the Royals broadcast?
Don't get it. Can't watch it. Blacked out. So listened to a fair amount of Tom Hamilton. Watched a lot of MLB extra innings in an effort to be able to see in one of the 4 boxes whenever the Kauffman Stadium would be shown, so I could see the beloved Guardians take on the Royals. It kind of went how I thought. I mean, basically either team could have won any of the 3 games, and the team that hit the ball slightly better than the other team and runners in scoring position won all 3 of them. So basically, just when those teams get together, they're not the same team, but they're close enough that you're pretty much just looking to play the same game.
Not to spend too much time on baseball, did Tom Hamilton have any thoughts or takes on the pitch that got away from Emmanuel Clase in the 9th yesterday?
I mean, I don't think anyone thought that it was on purpose.
No, nobody thinks that. Nobody thinks that.
I think it's more just, if you're not controlling really well, you probably shouldn't be going inside on hitters. But nonetheless, Emmanuel Clase hasn't looked good since the season ended last year.
He has not. I am worried for him.
I was worried that part of Cleveland's whole thing last year is they had by far the best bullpen in baseball, and you just can't expect that to happen year in and year out to the degree that they did. And Clase blowing his first save on Thursday was a reminder that it is not 2024 anymore. I think he'll find some form and be fine. They have enough arms in that bullpen, though, that if something
it's
were to
really
happen,
good. Yes,
they could go to somebody else without issue. I'm more excited about the emergence of Kyle Manzardo. So Cleveland's up to like 3.5 hitters now. So that's kind of exciting.
It's amazing.
I wonder what it's like to have a lineup where you have like 6 guys that can hit.
I wouldn't know either.
Those don't happen a lot in the AL Central. So you just try to get by with your 3s and your 4s. You're really lucky you have 5.
Yeah, it's true. The entire division is made up of teams who have like 3 hitters. It's except for the White Sox who have 0. I was going to text you because every time this player for the Guardians comes up to bat, I find myself equally in awe and angered and frustrated and amazed. And that person is Stephen Kwan. I love Stephen Kwan. If I could make, if you got a team full of 9 Stephen Kwans, you wouldn't hit very many home runs, but you'd have a pretty good baseball team. He's one of my favorite players that's not a Royal.
Yeah, he's just a really, really, really good hitter. And he's actually, this weekend aside, where he had some adventures in left field, he's won a Gold Glove every season of his career.
Mm-hmm.
So he's an incredible outfielder, too. Just one of those great Oregon State hitters that's gone on to have a nice major league career already. I get the feeling he has priced himself out of an extension in Cleveland. So I am just going to enjoy the hitting display. I actually think there's more power. I think he's kind of figured out, okay, some pitchers are going to challenge him, so he's just ready for it and he ambushes them. So if he can do that, a handful of times, maybe he can get to 20 home runs in a season. But nonetheless, the guy who super great on base percentage, great eye, going to hit 300 and play great defense. I mean, he's easily Cleveland's second best player.
Yeah, I just get so angry. If I was a pitcher, I'd be like, what am I supposed to do with this guy? I feel like I have him off balance. I feel like I've beat him, 99%, and he will just never swing and miss. So just keep fouling pitches off until you're blue in the face. It's excruciating.
You'll see him have like a terrible at bat every now and then. You're like, wow, what in the world? And then you're like, oh yeah, the best hitters in baseball history fail 7 out of 10 times. Great hitters in 2025 striked out. 2 out of 10 appearances, and then you just expect somebody like Stephen Quant's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so there's my take. Your team is still very good, and it's going to be a
They're both
season.
making the playoffs. It's going to be a division race all year. I don't believe, and they had a terrible weekend. I don't believe the Twins are good, and I don't think the Tigers are on the same level as the Guardians and the Royals. I think they're the best 2 teams in the Central. I know it's been very cliche for all the baseball writers to be like,
Tigers.
Those 4 teams can win it,
yeah.
or to just pick the Tigers because they had their moment last October. I genuinely believe it's Cleveland and Kansas City are the 2 best in the division.
Okay, I hope that is the case. They'll meet up several more times this year, and they'll all be.
And I won't be able to watch it.
And Schaefer won't be able. I'm trying to think of the broadcast moment that you would have found the most amusing on the FanDuel Sports Network that I might have. There was a couple points this weekend where I was going to text you like, "Are you watching this right now?" But I can't remember one off the top of my head in particular. So the YouTube TV has put you out of this. You're just listening on the radio now.
Well, and so I have MLB TV, but I can't.
Right.
I can't watch because it's blacked out, and so I'm just sitting there listening on the radio. Like I said, I have the quad box up for MLB Big Inning, which is the greatest thing. I love MLB Big Inning. It is a ton of fun to just have 4 baseball games going on at once, and getting to see the Yankees hit all of their home runs with their stupid little baseball bats. I guess they're not little; it's the reverse of little.
Yeah.
But it was really nice to have baseball back. As you know, famously a baseball guy. It was wonderful to have it back on the TV this weekend in the rotation.
Not to so we're going to end up doing this, and Dana Holgerson, spoke to the media last week. We're going to end up kind of rehashing all the Dana Holgerson storylines that we probably dove into a little bit last season. But
let's do it.
Yeah, we were just talking about before you came on here, the idea of him, really being Nebraska's offensive coordinator and like exclusively Nebraska's offensive coordinator. He's been a head coach, doesn't have to go out on the road and recruit. Like, I guess the position that he's in, given all of the things that all the roads that have eventually led him to this point in his career, he seems maybe as comfortable as he's ever been, even though it's still, he's still new on the job. And I don't know Dana Holgerson from way back, but he seems very, very comfortable in his own shoes right now.
I sent a text to your colleague, Josh Peterson, during his interview on Thursday, and I was like, I can't think of another offensive coordinator that I have covered at Nebraska, and it goes back to 2009. So Sean Watson, Tim Beck, Danny Langsford.
Langsdorf.
Langsford. I don't know. Oh, whatever. Who cares? That's how great the tenure went for.
Yeah, you got
Troy Walters, Matt Lubick, which was really just Scott Frost. Like I don't even really like including those guys because they really weren't offensive coordinators. And then most recently, Marcus Satterfield. None of them were ever as comfortable as Dana Holgerson was on Thursday. None of them seem as confident in their abilities as Dana Holgerson is. That man just exudes confidence. One of the great things about this setup for him, because he doesn't have to care about recruiting, he doesn't really have to care about defense, though he had a really interesting comment I'll get to here in a second. He can just focus entirely on Nebraska's offense in a way that he's really never been able to do in his career, and he just gets to be the offensive head coach, and that's essentially what he is. And I think he's relishing this. I think he's excited about having somebody like Dylan Raiola that made over the wide receiver room into something that he likes more. He certainly has talked highly of Emmett Johnson and Mekhi Nelson and others in that running back room. So there's something there that intrigues him. I just think this is a guy that I hate doing this because it sounds so cliche, but it's almost like it's Dana Holgerson version 2.0 or 3.0, whatever we want to call it. Like I think there's a coach in there that is at a level where he is very happy to not be a head coach anymore. He is very happy to not deal with NIL or recruiting or have to think about that. He can set up a grocery list and hand it off to Pat Stewart and Matt Rule and the NIL collectives and not have to think about it. And then he just gets to work with players. and he's at a university where the facilities are incredible and the amenities are incredible, and he gets paid a salary like he's a head coach anyway. I mean, he has everything he's ever wanted in his football life, and I wonder what we're going to get out of that. And I think there's a lot of reason to be intrigued and excited about what the results might be for someone who doesn't have to focus on anything other than just thinking about how can I build the best offense that's been assembled here at Nebraska with what we have.
I can think of.
I'm so intrigued by this.
Me too. And I could think of, as you were kind of going through that, I can think of a lot of other people, high-ranking people, whether it be, head coaches or coordinators, I guess, at Nebraska, who I just felt like if you repurpose that and got that person doing, exactly what they were supposed to be doing or what they had been doing throughout their entire career or what they were the best at, that experience turns out maybe a little bit different. And I think the first guy that I think of is Frost when it comes to that.
It's, two of Nebraska's last three head coaches out of their last four, just ignoring Rule here. Pelini would be so much better if he didn't have to have done everything else that was being a head coach.
100%.
He was just able to focus on being a defensive coordinator and that alone. Scott Frost can design some of the more unique sets in all of college football, can create plays that nobody can see coming, and yet is not really someone I think that is built to run a program at the level of Nebraska. I think he could have success at UCF, and for a variety of different reasons for that. But I just don't. Nebraska's too big for him, and maybe he'll learn, and we'll see him on a big stage again. But yeah, I mean, I think Dana Holgerson looks at it like I don't have any of the headaches, and I get to do what I want to do, and I'm doing it with someone in Matt Rule who I have a lot of respect for. I thought, I mentioned this earlier, something I wanted to get back to. He had a really interesting quote about how he doesn't want to do the air raid. Like this isn't Dana Holgerson from even 5 years ago. This is a different Dana Holgerson. And I am fascinated what that offense looks like, marrying that up with this defense. As someone who, like I said, he has a lot of respect for Matt Rule. I think he wants to build an offense that complements the defense that they ultimately want to put together and play in tandem and not be someone who's just, all right, this is what we've always done, so this is how we're always going to do it. That fascinates me. This is a guy who doesn't have to reinvent himself, and yet he's choosing to. And I think when you take someone as smart as he is from an offensive theory and offensive implementation, and you're like, all right, change it up, do something different, and create something new. Like, we don't know what the results are going to be, but who isn't excited to see it?
I think there's also something to him, like getting almost, if not complete autonomy in getting the keys of the offense.
It's complete autonomy. I mean, he's offensive. We should refer to him not as offensive coordinator, but offensive
head coach. Yeah. I mean, that has to help. I mean, especially a guy with head coaching, chops like he does. But that makes a huge difference when he can come in and kind of call all the shots.
Yeah, well, and then the part where I am really intrigued is, so okay, the two big hires that Matt Rule has sort of made in this offseason, I guess there's three, you count Mike Eckler, but one of them, you give the keys to Dana Holgerson, you say, okay, you're offensive head coach. And then you turn around, you hire Phil Snow, the person you respect the most in the entire coaching world, someone that you believe to be an incredible teacher and mentor and everything else. And he's not your defensive coordinator, but he's essentially tasked with building up the freshmen and the redshirt freshmen and the sophomore redshirts that aren't starting or in the two deep, and just building them to the point where he can hand them off to John Butler. And so John Butler isn't focused on individual development. John Butler gets to focus on just being the defensive coordinator. They built a really interesting operation there. And if someone who's very familiar with what's going on at Nebraska and has been to multiple practices, pointed out to me that if you think about it, all Matt Rule does when he talks about the other coaches on his staff is talk about teaching and talk about, them in terms of a classroom and instruction and being technically sound. It seems like he has built a staff that is very different than what he had before, not just in terms of personnel or experience, but with the idea that he's going to build teachers and he trusts some of the young guys that he's hired, and then he merged it with people that he's just trusted implicitly throughout his career. It's no one says this is going to work necessarily, but it is a very unique test case in its own way.
No doubt about it. And that's why spring ball is a little bit interesting this year. You get some windows into those things. All right, Schaefer, we'll let you go. Enjoy the baseball on your actual television this week, because they don't have to play the Royals
tonight. They're in San Diego. I'll be busy watching The Crown. But the Guardians will get to be on the side TV.
Any Crown predictions? I know that Nebraska has like the second or third best odds to win the thing.
I just want to see Nebraska Georgetown. That's a uniform matchup that excites me as someone who grew up, remembers Allen Iverson, remembers the black jerseys, remembers Paul Thompson. Georgetown is like one of those brands that always going to mean a lot more to me than whatever their last 15 years has shown them to be as a basketball program. And so I'm excited in the same way that I was pumped about Nebraska UCLA at home in Devaney. I'd be really excited just to get a Nebraska Georgetown matchup.
Okay.
As far as I know, hasn't happened in a long time.
We'll have to check that out. We'll get on the research. Nebraska Georgetown and basketball. When the last time, and then we'll tweet you a box score here in like 5 minutes.
And then watch whoever Georgetown plays win or Nebraska lose to Arizona State, so none of it matters.
They never played each other in the Gavitt games. I guess not, right? It was like Villanova once.
Nebraska got St. John's, Villanova, which is wild if you think about it, and Creighton.
Yeah.
They never would have played in that. They certainly would never have matched up in non-conference unless it was a tournament, which Nebraska wasn't getting invited to anyways.
Right.
So,
Josh, you got anything over there?
I do. This is from the Google AI. So like I have not clicked a link. I don't know that this is true, but Nebraska has a 2-7 record against Georgetown. Their most recent matchup being a 74-73 win for Nebraska on February 13th of last year.
No.
That's what Google says.
No, well, why would you even say that, Josh?
Why does Google AI feel like it's the early stages of Wikipedia?
It doesn't work.
It does feel like that.
You can't use this as a real source.
I knew it wasn't true, but I read it for the entertainment value.
Eventually, Wikipedia becomes like one of the most accurate sources out there. Maybe that's the path for Google AI, but right now they're in the early stages.
Yeah, it's still early. All right, Schaefer, we'll get on that in a more official manner. Talk to you later.
All right, see you guys.
Mike Schaefer, Husker 247. We'll check on that one during the break, because I don't think that is correct. Don't think that is correct.
You don't think so?
No. We'll go to the all-time opponents list, and we'll look back on the other side.
All right.
The odd news is coming up on 1620 The Zone.
He gives you the latest sports news, analysis, and commentary in a clean, concise, and disease-free way.
See there?
What a relief. Thank God.
Wonderful. It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Easy Cater is the smarter, simpler way to order food for your workplace. With easy online ordering.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
All right, so we've checked in with each of the Nebraska and Georgetown sports information departments. Nebraska and Georgetown, if they were to meet on Wednesday in the Crown tournament at the MGM Garden Grand Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, home of many things, including, but not limited to, Ryan Kalkbrenner getting kicked in the nuts. It would be the first time ever. They have never played each other. Never have these two programs cross paths with
now
each
Google AI says they're 2-7.
Wrong. Incorrect, Josh.
Okay.
Incorrect.
I would never outright dismiss anything our Google AI overlords say.
I mean, it is crazy that they have never played each other.
Seems a little crazy.
I mean, you think you would have played everybody by now, right? It's 2025. Nebraska's played George Mason, George Washington, Georgia.
George Washington in the Crown tournament.
Georgia Southern, Georgia State, Georgia Tech, Grambling, Gardner-Webb. All of these things never have played Georgetown until potentially Wednesday night. They got to beat Arizona State first.
Can't look
Georgetown's got to be Washington State.
Ooh, Wazoo.
Yeah. I don't know who's going to be on any of these teams as the Crown begins, but here we go.
Right.
All right, Josh, odd news. What do we got?
Well, the talk of baseball over the weekend was the Yankees' torpedo bats, which meant that the Cardinals' new batting approach could fly under the radar without anyone noticing.
What did they do?
Well, Wilson Contreras came up to the dish Saturday. That's home plate, Connor.
Thank you.
The Cardinals star
Thanks.
Came to the plate in the third inning against the Twins and ripped a huge strip of batting tape off of the bottom of his bat. And he just jammed it. And he just jammed it in his mouth. Yeah, started chewing on it like it was gum.
I like that. That's baseball guy right there.
It is. And they Chip Carey doing the game for whatever the hell TV network broadcast Cardinals games, probably the FanDuel Sports Network.
I think so.
Said if this works, he's going to do this every at bat now. And
did it work?
I don't think it did.
Okay.
No,
I definitely never saw two clips of him eating batting tape.
So down on strikes, struck out swinging.
There you go. Never again.
Mm-mm.
I will never eat bat tape again. Wilson Contreras.
It's on the board at the whiteboard at Busch Stadium.
Exactly.
Inside the clubhouse.
I assume every entity has a predictions board.
Why wouldn't you? Does your office have a predictions board?
Yeah.
If so,
if you have a prediction, where do you put it?
Right.
If you don't have a board,
you can't just have it in your head. You have to get it out for it to count.
Do you think? Poll question: Do you think every place that has a whiteboard, there's just a bunch of predictions on it? I don't know how we do that poll question, but I would assume if there's a whiteboard and it's just kind of a free reign, you could just write stuff on there.
And then there's some places
there's got to be predictions on that.
The manager's like, I keep the dry erase markers. You guys can't be trusted.
Locks up the dry erase markers.
Poll question up at Happer Show. Does every office with a whiteboard have predictions written on it?
That's a good poll question. I like that.
Truck spill of the week. Let's get this out of the way early. We go to Indiana, where Indiana State Police responded to a rollover crash. Connor, we have 127 of this particular item.
127 somethings.
Yes. So they're kind of big.
Pretty
big, right? If it's a truck spill, but only 127 items.
Yeah.
I don't want to give it away, but
category? Food,
pre-food,
electronics. Oh, pre-food.
Pre-food.
Pigs.
Cows. Now, sadly, 2 cows perished.
Ouch.
In the rollover crash, but
they were going to anyway, weren't they?
Kind of what I was thinking when I printed the article out. left 125 cows stumbling along I-65. The driver of the truck not injured. Police say he was cited for driving too fast, though.
You can't drive the cows too fast. When you drive by the trucks with the cows or the piggies, what do you think? Do you feel bad for them? You wave to them?
I've reached a point in my life where I no longer feel bad for them.
You feel bad for yourself because you have to smell them.
Right. I have to smell them, and there's always pee coming out of the front corner of the truck. Always. It's gross.
Look at those piggies. Look at those piggies.
Yeah.
Where are they going?
They got no room in there.
You don't want to know where they're going.
You don't want to think about it.
Little boy.
I keep my head forward, and I just keep on driving.
All right, and?
Finally, Connor, if you recall, opening day was not great for subscribers to MLB.tv.
I do recall.
As there were nationwide outages. But MLB has offered an apology.
Oh, that's nice.
They are giving you $10 off anything you buy on MLB.com.
MLB shop?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So they're not giving you a credit. They're not giving you...
Wait, it's not a credit?
No, you have to buy something. Like a hat.
Yeah.
If you buy a hat, we'll give you $10 off.
Okay. That covers shipping or something.
Sure. Also nets MLB a lot more money.
Yeah, but what if you were going to buy something anyway?
If you were going to buy something anyway, yeah, sure. I guess this...
Yeah, I'm not going out of my way to buy something just to save the $10.
Mm-hmm.
This is just in the event that you're going to buy something.
Right.
And then
you
pocket the $10 off until you do buy something.
I imagine there's an expiration date on it, but you are correct, yes.
Yeah. Don't go out of your way to buy something off of MLB.
Well, they gave me the coupon. I got to get the deal.
By the way, I got to tell I tweeted about this over the weekend. So the Royals are wearing their blue with the blue these days. They're going to wear them every Saturday for the rest of the season. But one of the things that they debuted this year was the hats, like the 3-panel hats.
I've been asking every Royals fan I know, what do you think of this hat? I can't tell if I like it or not.
Well, here's the deal. I already don't like the design of the 3-panel hat. It's not my style.
Mm-hmm.
But they are gigantic and they don't fit. They don't fit any of the players.
Yes.
They look wrong. They look like it looks like they're stuffing their hats to make them be able to fit.
Look at my giant head.
I would be protesting if I was a Royals player right now. Get his hats that fit.
Oh, interesting take.
Yeah.
Now, just very quickly, the Guardians of Cleveland,
Guards,
they've offered their MLB.tv subscribers free tickets to an upcoming game.
Whoa.
As hey, here's a better viewing experience.
Once again, Josh, to your point, though,
they're going to get you in, and then
it just results in more money for the Cleveland Guardians.
Yeah.
By the way, the Cleveland Guardians, they've kind of sharpened up their uniforms. The C on the chest, the button down their hat.
Oh yeah,
it's clean.
Ooh.
They got it's clean over there.
Okay,
I like what they got cooking right now in Cleveland. All right, Josh, thanks.
Thank you, Connor.
That is the odd news. We'll be back with the noon hour. Still plenty to cover, including a weekend of basketball that results in 4 1 seeds in the Final Four. Back after this on 1620 The Zone.
he does it the only way he knows how. With his massive sports brain sprinkled with a smidgen of rabble-rousing. Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here we are on championship week of the Omaha Food Fight, presented by Union Bank and Trust, where the Foodie 4 is underway. I have looked at who we have in the Foodie 4. How do we feel about these matchups? Now we're not talking about Houston and Duke and Auburn and Florida.
You want me to grunt the slate here?
Yeah, I do actually. Just a quick grunt. We got Drover versus Brother Sebastians. And we got Manja versus Broncos.
Oh.
All right, thank you.
A couple of Cinderella runs meeting up in the Final Four.
That is the Foodie 4, Josh. You meant Foodie 4 in the Omaha Food Fight presented by Union Bank and Trust. Voting ends in those two matchups after Wednesday, and then we'll have the championship Thursday through the weekend. You could vote now, 1620thezone.com, for your favorite out of those four to bring home. I assume there will be some sort of a cup, a chalice, some sort of a trophy.
Oh, yeah. Have we thought about that?
Things of that
Is there
nature.
some hardware that we will be shipping to the winning
I don't
restaurant?
know. Maybe we'll just go there a bunch.
Ooh, okay.
He's like, I don't want this trophy. I want your business. It's like, okay, we got a little bit of that too. So go ahead and vote 1620thezone.com on the Omaha Food Fight presented by Union Bank and Trust. Final Four in real life, Josh. No, we're not at the college basketball crown Final Four yet either.
Yeah, we'll get there. Don't worry.
We'll get there. Do you have your you have your bracket made for the college basketball crown?
Oh, I mean, it'd be very difficult.
Why don't you just go through picks right now?
Okay.
Just go ahead, right off the face. Utah, Butler.
George
Washington, Boise. Nebraska, Arizona State.
Go Big Red.
Georgetown, Washington State.
Georgetown.
DePaul, Cincinnati.
DePaul.
You love the Big East.
Yeah.
Oregon State, UCF.
Jesus, how am I supposed to know that? Oregon State.
Colorado, Villanova.
Who's coaching for Villanova?
Not
Kevin Willard?
Probably not Kevin Willard.
Okay. Colorado.
Tulane, USC.
Trojans.
Okay. We got Butler, Boise.
All
right. We got Nebraska, Georgetown.
Oh, you can't stop the Big Red.
All right. We got DePaul and UCF.
No, Oregon State, I think I picked.
DePaul, Oregon State. We got Colorado, USC.
That's disgusting. USC.
All right. That leads us to
Butler, Nebraska. No, Boise, Nebraska.
Boise. Wow.
Isn't Boise like the last team that didn't get in the tournament?
I don't know. Boise, Nebraska. Okay. DePaul.
No, Oregon State.
Oregon State beat DePaul?
Yeah.
All right. Oregon State against
in overtime.
Colorado? Zabe, USC?
It's USC, I believe.
All right.
Give me Oregon State.
So that leads us to the championship game of Oregon State and Boise State in the college basketball crown Sunday, 2:30 Pacific time on Fox.
What, 2:30 Pacific?
That's what it says.
Why would it say that?
It's because it's in Vegas, Josh. It's in
Eastern.
Vegas. 2:30 Pacific.
If it's on television, you say Eastern.
2:30 Pacific. You got to make a pick.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't make a pick.
No.
Give me Boise.
Boise for the crown. They'll get a big crown afterwards. The first round in the quarterfinal will be held at the MGM Garden Grain Arena once again, home of Ryan Kalkbrenner getting kicked in the nuts. And
famously,
the semifinals will be across the street over at T-Mobile Arena, home of the Vegas Golden Knights, Josh.
Hockey.
As will the finals. It's presented by Ghost. That weird...
The band?
No, that weird drink.
The energy drink they give us during the College World Series.
Yeah, they got people out there handing out energy drinks.
You want a sour bubblegum flavored energy drink? Here you go. This one tastes like neon cotton candy. Here you go.
Yeah. How'd it make you feel afterwards? Probably about how the Crown makes me feel.
I was buzzing.
Crecky writes in.
Hi, Crecky.
Josh O, certified hoophead.
That's what they call me.
Kenneth says, every game.
Imagine being legitimately excited for this tournament.
I don't think that there is a person on this earth who actually is.
I would agree. I think a lot
there's a lot of people who have to do it for their jobs.
A lot of people are in on the joke.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Yes. And I think it's funny that, this is basically just the NIT, but still unclear whether it's better or worse.
Less teams in the pool of eligible teams to play in.
And it's all in Vegas, so there's a little bit different. Like, is it?
It's shiny. It's new. We've never done this before.
Really, what the thing is going to be at the end of the week is this better or worse than the NIT? And I think you'll probably find that it's better.
I would think so.
Just because it's maybe every 4 years we need to create a new NIT.
Well, the NIT came in. It hasn't went yet. Yeah,
it's not gone. The NIT still exists. Yeah. This is just a better version.
But it's this year's NIT is not completed.
It's just mid majors.
Yeah,
because all the high major teams that stunk and didn't make the NCAA tournament made the Crown.
Right,
instead. And they're giving them, and it's on Fox, and they're giving them monetary opportunities, things like that.
A wearable trophy.
Why Not Hoiberg writes,
hi, Why Not Hoiberg?
Have you not met Jack Mitchell? I have met Jack Mitchell many times.
Yeah.
And even I think he is doing a bit. But he claims to be excited about the Crown. I did see a lot of Nebraska basketball fans talking about how they were excited that they are still, they're still playing and, versus most teams, all but 4 in the NCAA tournament who are not playing right now, and how they were holding that over everybody else's head, which is very funny. Yeah, very funny. There are still Mustache Adam writes in.
Hi, Mustache.
You're telling me that Jack's 20,000 tweets about the Crown the last 3 days aren't genuine? And then the old nut kick there. That's like what happened to Ryan Kalkbrenner at the MGM Garden Grand Arena that one time.
Is that a reenactment?
Yeah, I think it is. That's exactly what happened to him. So at least in Josh's bracket there, Schaefer will get exactly what he wants, which is the first ever matchup between Nebraska and Georgetown in basketball. I used to feel that way about Georgetown too. And then Creighton joined the Big East, and I'm like, I do not feel this way anymore.
Seen it.
There's 4 fans who show up to their games. How am I supposed to be nostalgic about this program?
Well, we had
the jerseys don't get me excited anymore.
We had the Patrick Ewing run. Like, ooh, that guy was on the dream team, and he's walking up and down the court.
I respect Ed Cooley.
Of course, you have to.
I always respect Ed Cooley, but yeah. Anyway, Josh, how do we feel about the fact that in the actual tournament that's still going on, we have 4 1 seeds? Does it bum you out? Are you bummed?
Well, here's the
thing
about that.
Are you bummed?
I said 3 of them would get to the Final Four, so I guess it's expected.
So let's stop there.
Okay.
So if you are on the internet today, or on a radio show, or you have this platform, and one of your points on your whatever today on your platform was to tell people about how you were so right and you picked the Final Four all correct, you should be fired. Fired from that show.
Uh-huh.
It actually shows everybody else how big of an idiot you are. But the fact that you picked all the Final Four teams right. You picked all the 1 seeds to go to the Final Four. That's what you're not supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
But Connor, I was right. This just tells me that you do this every single year, waiting for the 1 year that you're going to be right. And yes, for the second time since 2008, or for the first time since 2008, it will be all 1 seeds in the Final Four. And all the people who are touting the fact that their brackets are the 97th percentile on ESPN right now, they've never been happier. They've never been happier.
I'm not touting anything.
I'm just saying, Josh.
I understand.
Be careful.
Firing seems harsh, but I do generally agree with you that, yeah, you didn't go on a limb and say anything. I mean, these are the best teams that we have in the sport. I just want one of these games to be good, damn it.
Well, can I interest you in a sweet baseline out of bounds play from Houston to get over Purdue?
That was sweet.
How about that? That was a good game.
That was a good.
It's basically a buzzer beater.
One of these games, every damn round being good is not enough.
Okay, we're spoiled. We're a little spoiled.
Sure.
A little spoiled. What about the drama of Janai Broom almost breaking his arm, but then coming back in? And then him traveling all over the place and fouling people all over the place. Man, Auburn has really rubbed me the wrong way in this tournament.
Wow.
I do love Todd Pettiford. That dude is a baller. And I do love Denver Jones.
Great name.
The rest of them, pass.
So three of them you like.
No, I like Pettiford and I like Denver Jones.
Oh, okay, not Janai Broom.
No, I do not care for Janai Broom. I do not care for
Did you
Janai
see his
Broom.
Willis Reed moment?
Oh, not every time you come back into a game is a Willis Reed.
I think it is.
That's what the basketball writers are saying.
Did you see
Oh my God, he left and he came back. He's Willis Reed.
Did you see his parents?
I saw it all, Josh.
Okay.
I saw it
I didn't
all.
have the sound on, so I don't know what was happening.
I am not interested in Janai Broom. I do not care about Janai Broom.
He had all of the points and rebounds for Auburn.
He had a good game.
He's like Charles Barkley.
What is he like? He's like Willis Reed and Charles Barkley.
That's right, both.
All in one?
Yep.
Paul Pierce?
I don't know if he pooped his pants yesterday.
I'm wondering. So we have the final four matchups Saturday. Florida, 1 seed against Auburn, 1 seed, and then Houston, 1 seed against Duke, 1 seed. One thing that I do love about getting to this point in the NCAA tournament, and it's not really the NCAA tournament anymore. You know, we hit the confetti button. You know, these teams all got trophies. They won their regions, and now we get to go play in a football stadium, aka the Alamo Dome. And so it feels a little bit different, but it happens, you know, it happens in this round every year. We know all of these teams' players now because you've watched every single game. Like some people hadn't watched Florida or Auburn, even though they were two of the best, 5 teams in the country all year long.
That's right.
They hadn't watched them once or twice the entire season.
I would never.
And now they've watched them 4 times in 2 weeks.
I know everything there is to know about the Gators and the Tigers.
Exactly. Same thing with Houston and Duke. And so it's cool. And you get to really, play the match. That's why I said at the beginning of the show, like these games should just be pick'ems.
Platt Cat loves that idea.
I don't know. Yeah, I can't tell if he was being sarcastic or not, though.
I think he thinks he's going to take you for all your worth if you do that.
Why would I do that? How would he be able to do that? They're both pick'ems.
He'll find a way.
I've been saying Houston's going to win the national championship for like the last, 2 months now?
You have. People forget, hoop head that I am, months ago, I guaranteed, I put it on the board, but I didn't actually write it on the board. We did a segment where he said, Josh, do you want to put it on the board? And I said, yes. Duke and Auburn, Final Four.
Did you write it on the board?
I didn't, but
Interesting.
we did a segment where you asked if I would put it on the board, and I said yes.
Duke and Auburn, that was your national championship?
I just said they both make the Final Four. This is before we had a bracket.
So you already got that.
Yeah.
You're a genius.
Mm-hmm. Hoop head. See, the sport's not hard.
How about Kelvin? Don't call me Kevin.
This guy keeps talking, and I keep loving this man.
I know. I feel like this happens every year because they're always in a position to be in the Final Four or win the national championship. It's like, damn, I love Kelvin Sampson. I keep loving Kelvin Sampson.
He had an interview pregame, and forgive me, I don't know the coach he was talking about. He said, I came up with this guy, and we were coaching in the same circles together all the time. If I can't win it, I hope he wins it. Maybe it was Rick Barnes at Tennessee.
Probably.
Yeah. But he was just so complimentary, and he was saying like nice things that coaches don't like outwardly say to each other. You know, it's always, we're in a fraternity together, you know, we coaches respect each other. But this was like, no, if I die tonight, I want Rick Barnes to take my children.
I saw a little bit of the I was worried about this for Todd Golden. A lot of the Todd Golden stuff started popping up over the weekend. So Todd Golden had some allegations that were against him this year.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Yes. Cleared of Title IX wrongdoing, Josh. But the Final Four has arrived, and the week is long, and people are going to start saying things about Todd Golden this week. So there's that piece of it. There's Bruce Pearl, who actually probably isn't guilty of doing very many things wrong, except for, I mean, Kelvin Sampson too. Kelvin Sampson gets painted out like a bad guy. He just texted recruits and got in trouble for it.
Before this season, the two things I knew about Kelvin Sampson were he had some recruiting violation, I don't remember what, and he never wins. Like the big one. Those are the two things I knew about him.
Yep. So it's a little bit different now. Mm-hmm. And then you have likable Duke. Welcome to the likable Duke era.
I
talked about this on Friday. Well, that was before we were going to do the topic and then simple callback. But Cooper Flagg is awesome. I love watching Cooper Flagg play basketball. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
And and it's amazing because, I mean, being honest, he kind of looks like a lot of the Duke guys that we've hated for a long time.
That's right.
He was like, yeah, it looks like a Duke guy to me. No. I don't know why. He's different and awesome. We love Cooper Flagg. There's no justice for JJ Redick or the other guy, the Grayson. That guy sucked. Grayson Allen. There's no justice for any of those guys. Those guys are probably sitting around wondering, like, why did everybody hate me, but we love this guy? I don't know what happened. So that's a setup for our Final Four. Josh, I know why you've paused and have stopped talking.
Why would you say that, Connor?
Because you saw something on your computer that was interesting.
I was just engaged with the Duke is likable chatter.
Oh no, we're gonna get to this.
I don't know what you're talking
We're
about.
gonna get to this. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? CBS Sports. I can't believe this. CBS Sports has obtained a list of over 30 ideas from Nebraska administrators that they brainstormed as they work to retool their spring game. That's right. They have FOIA'd ideas for Nebraska spring game. The list of things that were brainstormed might provide us content for the entire summer. Maybe for the rest of our lives. We will click on that link when we come back. But by the way, many people defending the great honor of Jack Mitchell. So Aaron writes in,
"Hi,
saying
Aaron.
Jack Mitchell is doing a bit is gold. That's your show for 4 hours. A bit? Well, it kind of is.
What?
I mean, don't you think Jack is probably a little bit overinflating his actual excitement for the college basketball crown?
It's him dialed up to 11.
Yeah, don't you think it's just taking a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
That's all. But I know people are jacked about the crown. We got a YouTube comment from before. Ron said he says meeting at a bar with Husker fans. Definitely, there are some peeps that are interested. The peeps are interested, Josh.
Okay, in
the crown. So get off the crown. Leave the crown alone.
I would never disrespect the crown.
When we come back, we have some ideas that we need to read to you. Coming up on 1620 The Zone. Backlot Tap House is our zone deal this week, which is Omaha's place for the best Detroit-style pizza. 30 beers on tap. Pizza, beer, friends, fun! $50 of gift vouchers for just $25 on Friday at 9 at 1620thezone.com. Or you can listen to this very show all week.
Whoa.
We have, I think, 5 to give away for the week, and we will be doing just that. That's $0, Josh.
That's a good deal.
Indeed. So more incentive for you to listen to the Connor Happer Show. An article from CBS Sports, Richard Johnson.
That's two names that mean the same thing.
Depending on where your head's at, Josh.
Okay.
From tractor pulls to Donald Trump, Nebraska put all options on the table when reformatting spring game. Once again, you got to get that SEO in there.
Mm-hmm.
If you could put Donald Trump in the headline and it makes sense.
Needle mover.
Yeah, you're cooking. So I'll read it to you. In early February, Nebraska coach Matt Rule hinted at a controversial decision that would soon become official. The Cornhuskers' spring football game, played almost annually since 1950, would be replaced with a skills competition and 7-on-7 action instead of a live inter-squad scrimmage. It continued a trend as Texas, Ohio State, USC, and other prominent schools decided on tweaking their spring games, something Ole Miss did in 2024. When Rule spoke to reporters on February 1st, he said he didn't know what events would be featured. On February 4th, CBS Sports reached out to a Nebraska administrator via text message asking what events the Huskers would replace the spring game with, and the response was simply a shrug emoji. Then the wheels really started getting to turn, Josh.
Yeah, what happened?
Husker brass was knee-deep in figuring out the reformatting. Emails obtained by CBS Sports via open request record show that there were ongoing deliberations about what to do on April 26th, with administrators throwing numerous ideas at the wall to see what could work. Unfortunately, all the emails that they send in-house can be FOIA'd. So, in a February 7th email from Associate AD Brandon Meyer to multiple administrators, Meyer listed over 30 ideas to be discussed by a group of administrators in the meeting the following Monday. There were some football-related ideas, and then there were some not-so-football-related ideas. Here are the ideas as they are listed. This is, once again, first of all, let me say this out front. This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I think Richard Johnson is a really smart guy, and I have a lot of respect for him, but this is not... We don't need to be FOIAing this stuff. All right.
Oh, but he knew it was going to generate clicks.
Of course.
And radio bits like this.
Of course. Like, I feel bad for the people inside the walls of Nebraska.
Yes.
Right?
Because
like,
now they're going to be like, okay, we can't exchange emails.
Yes.
Every conversation, it has to be face to face all the time.
When I read this, you're going to think that this is the stupidest thing ever. And in reality, these are the meetings that need to happen in order to figure out an actual way forward for the spring.
Every company pulls out the 6 foot tall. We just talked about whiteboards. Pulls out the 6 foot whiteboard and
anything you got.
Brainstorm. No bad ideas. Put them up.
There is no such idea that is bad. Yes. So I'm going to read these because, as Richard Johnson correctly predicted, it will provide fodder and content. Alumni flag football.
Makes sense.
Sand volleyball. Huskers versus football alumni.
Oh, wouldn't that be fun to watch everyone struggle in the sand?
Dodgeball.
Oh.
Youth punt, pass, and kick competition.
Remember Andy Reid?
John Cook roping exhibition.
Would 100% attend that.
That's a yes from me.
Yeah.
Soccer field goals versus football penalty kicks.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Yeah.
BMX bike exhibition.
Everyone groaned when Charlie suggested that in the meeting.
Concert. Just concert. Okay. Just do a concert.
Very vague.
Morgan Wallen.
God's country.
Tours of the new football training facility, which this one actually came to fruition.
Not if someone had their druthers.
Well, we'll talk about that in a second. Husker garage sale on the concourse.
That
also came to fruition.
Yeah.
Pre-post game team and coaches autographs. I'm sure they'll do autographs at the 7-on-7 day or whatever they're doing. Now we get fun. Sorority tug of war.
Sorority
tug of war. Not just tug of war. Sorority tug of war.
Get out of here, you horny jerks. The hell is that?
Fastest student on campus race.
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah.
World's largest tunnel walk.
That
so you
would've-
invite like 50,000 people and they all do the tunnel walk.
that-
you know?
Who wouldn't
We
have
love
shown up
setting a
for
record.
that?
We
Yeah.
love setting a record. Fans are free to come down and cut out a section of turf. They'll be replacing the field after this.
Mhm.
So why don't you come on down with your knives?
Bring your knives to the stadium.
Barbecue competition. Demolition derby.
Demolition derby?
Yeah, demolition derby, because you could screw up the field as much as you want. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Go-kart races.
Same vein, a little more comical though, right?
Tractor pulls. That's all in the same idea.
Mm-hmm.
Give away a free car or truck.
Oh, okay.
Food trucks outside or even on the field or on the apron, like on the, the little sidewalk there before the red fence.
Uh-huh.
Half of the field for fan festival while practice is going on. Dunk tank.
Yeah.
Bo Pelini, welcome back.
Excuse me?
This would have required Bo Pelini, I believe, to be in attendance. But once again, no bad ideas. Pancakes, pancake feed on the concourse. Pancake Man probably would be there.
Of course.
I learned when I was in Lincoln, there is a Lincoln version of the Pancake Man.
Oh, it's not the same Pancake Man?
No,
in
Pancake
the
Man
state?
is only Omaha.
Oh.
Pancake Man. There is a different Pancake Man, and he's called a different thing in Lincoln.
Okay, I was going to say, is the Pancake Man a brand, or is
No,
it?
a Pancake Man is like
Can
it's a
anyone be the Can you franchise the Pancake Man?
That I don't know.
Okay. I didn't know.
You'd have to ask the Pancake Man.
Let's get the Pancake Man on the show.
I would love to have the Pancake Man on the show.
He would.
Do
make
you
us
know how
pancakes,
many
too.
lives you've touched, Pancake Man?
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Genuinely,
I feel like the Pancake Man was everywhere.
That was an event when Pancake
Yes.
Man was at your school. Like, Mom,
Yes.
Dad, we got to go to the Pancake Man.
Absolutely.
This is that's a real thing.
Media/celebrity flag football game.
100%.
That might still be coming to fruition. Bring back the N with script Huskers for this game. Bring back the N with script Huskers. And just bring back script Huskers? I don't know.
Okay.
Bring in field size flag and live eagle. Field size flag, 120 yard flag, and an eagle. Bring in a live eagle.
Okay.
So at this point, it starts getting a little patriotic.
A celebration of America.
Yes. Idea number 29, invite President T.
Also a celebration of America.
And finally, last but not least, idea number 30, involve the National Guard military in-game event competition. There was a lot of slashes in there.
Mm-hmm.
And they...
Army games.
Yeah. So, Matt Rule did not respond to CBS Sports' request for comment.
Wow.
But...
He's always talking.
But that email was forwarded to him by one of the people in the Nebraska Athletic Department. And then Rule replied his response of the massive email, and he gave the Nebraska administrators a list of the ones that he would vote for, that he likes more than the others. So Josh, you tell me the numbers and I'll read which number correlates with.
There's a lot of them that he did like.
Yep. He liked there's 30 ideas. I think he liked more than half of them.
Mm-hmm. Ready?
Yep.
3.
Dodgeball.
4.
Youth punt, pass, and kick.
5.
John Cook roping exhibition.
6.
Soccer field goals versus football penalty kicks.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
8.
Concert. He loved concert.
Concert.
I'm not rule. I love concert.
There's potential there.
Yep.
10.
Husker garage sale.
11.
Pre-post team and coaches autographs.
Okay. 12.
Sorority tug of war.
Whoa, Matt Rule. You have daughters.
He loves sorority tug of war.
13.
It could mean anything.
It wasn't a pillow fight, am I right?
It could mean anything. Fastest student on campus race. I actually like that. This might be my favorite one, actually.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
16.
Barbecue competition. Classic
Matt Rule.
Yeah.
17.
Demolition derby.
Oh, okay.
Like monster trucks. Like, all right, keep going.
18.
Go-kart races.
20.
Give away a free car or truck.
21.
Food trucks.
22.
Half the field's used for Fan Fest.
23.
Dunk tank.
24.
Bo Pelini will come back.
Oh, okay. Important that we got his endorsement on record for that one.
Yeah.
28.
He didn't like Pancake Man or media celebrity flag football game, which is interesting because he's been all over that.
Mm-hmm. He talked about how much he would love to see Steve Sipple catch a punt.
He liked 28, which means he likes the field size flag and the live eagle.
29.
Invite President T.
30.
Involve the National Guard / military in-game / event / competition.
Which media member is asking him questions about this list at the next press conference?
I don't know. I hope none. Once again, I feel bad.
Yeah.
I think this sucks. I wish this information would have never got FOIA'd. But since it did, it is, I think it's I don't know. I thought it'd be funny. We could have just avoided it. We could have.
But I mean, it's interesting in like a fun way. Like, oh, this is all the things that you were kicking around there.
In late February, one of Nebraska's senior administrators, Haven Fields, he attempted to set up a flag football game between athletes from the Nebraska women's intramurals teams and Midland. Just don't like because I'm from Midland. About an hour away, because y'all from Midland. According to the email to Midland administrators, a couple fans also sent feedback. One email sent to athletic director Troy Yogurt Dannon suggested the spring game be renamed in Jack Hoffman's honor, with proceeds being donated to his foundation.
Okay.
And a softball game in Memorial Stadium where the football team sold concessions to interact with the fans was also pitched.
Yeah, I see. But there you're going to get a bunch of like people wanting to like chat, and it's going to take everyone 12 minutes to get their nachos.
Well, there's hopefully not, there's not going to be 90,000 people there. The foul lines in softball are 190 feet. I think with sidelines, you should be able to get to that easy since the football field is 160 feet wide. I think there'd be plenty of leftover room in the long end. I'm pretty sure you could work it out. Let's set a softball attendance world record. What do you say? That's what the fans said. Dannon, Mr. Yogurt, politely declined, but he did write back that there have been several eternal discussions about an event like that moving forward. So, softball game at Memorial Stadium, not dead yet. Not dead yet. So there you go. There's some ideas. It's happening. We're not exactly sure what what exactly it's going to look like yet, but yeah.
Do you think President T would have accepted the invitation?
I don't.
Not a big enough event, right?
Yeah.
In a state that is locked up, so to speak, for
I don't think he
his
would.
camp.
I don't think he would have accepted.
Right.
Maybe he would have sent a video.
Okay.
Or something like that. John emails in on the Equitable Bank inbox.
Hi, John.
What happens if you get the Pancake Man on the show and all he wants to talk about is his stand-up act?
Look, guys, I'm here to talk about the tour. Well, you're here to talk about pancakes, Pancake Man. You're here to talk about Cash Cab guy.
Wow, is this true? Text from the 402. Pancake Man is from Council Bluffs, Kentucky, as it says.
Wow, what a derogatory term.
Brent says there are also flapjack guys.
Whoa.
But they're cheaper.
The original Pancake Man for over 39 years and counting.
Brian says, I could probably get you one of the Pancake Men. It's basically three guys. One of the Pancake Men is my father-in-law.
Well, I hope you could get him then.
Do we want to have the Pancake Man on the show, Josh? Also, Jay Testdummy on Twitter says Lincoln has the Waffle Man.
Waffle?
That sounds a lot worse.
I like waffles more than pancakes, but that sounds derivative.
No, give me pancake. No bad ideas. I think we got to use our FOIAs for something a little bit better in 2024 or 5, but that's just me. It's funny. Everybody got to laugh, and nobody has to think anything else of this. I hope people don't think less of the Nebraska administration just because they were throwing around crazy ideas. I love the fastest man on campus. I think they should have done that.
Let's let it end there.
Yes.
Let's not make this a mountain out of a molehill.
Yep. I think so. That's the lesson. We'll be back. Still, Sam McKewon will join us at the top of the hour. Wanting to come here on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. Thanks to Binu, who on Twitter just alerted us to something extremely important. I have a very important and urgent announcement. Harper Murray did a TikTok, and Matt Rule's in it. He's dancing.
Are they talking about tractor pulls?
You guys want to see it? Here, I'll turn the volume down since that's probably annoying to hear, but I will. Here, watch us on YouTube. Ready?
ZoneTV.live.
There you go. There they are. They're dancing.
Oh,
wait. Matt Rule gets the ISO cam there.
Oh, he threw his hat.
Yeah.
Wow.
He kind of continues to prove over and over again what he said. Remember in the video last summer when he was like, I might not be very good at golf, but you asked me to shoot a shot and I'm gonna get you to where you need to go. You get me to step up in a moment and I'm there for you. I mean, that's pretty good. I can't imagine he's like an excellent dancer, but you asked him to step up for a Harper Murray TikTok and all of a sudden
You think
got
that
some
was
spice in there.
Do you think that was one take, or she said?
I can't imagine it was more than one.
Sure.
I mean, I'd probably just, it's like we can't do more than definitely no more than two.
Right.
Right. You know what I'm talking about? So, shout out to Matt Rule. He's a little bit everywhere. This spring, including the football practice field. I guess they don't practice today. Tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a Tuesday, Thursday thing.
Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday this week. Jeff Goodman of Field of 68 has a tweet.
Hi, Jeff.
Right now, the numbers being tossed around by agents for most of the top transfers is in the $2.5 to $3 million range.
Whoa. In this economy?
Timing is everything, and right now agents and players are trying to get paid prior to the house settlement and revenue sharing going into place.
Okay.
If you can get paid right now, now's a good time to do it. You don't think maybe, just maybe, that some of these numbers are, I don't know, fake?
Whoa. What would make you say that?
I don't know, man. I mean, you see a lot of players that get offered things in the transfer portal and you see a number that gets floated around. You're like, really? Are we sure about that? I'm sure there's been many schools have said, really?
$3 million for you?
I don't think that seems right, but who knows? Husker baseball this weekend. Bing! Hilariously. I say hilariously, and I don't say it, to make fun. But it's funny that they won their first series of the year, period.
What?
From the number 5 team in the country against Oregon State this weekend. I really wish I would have predicted this, to be honest with you. I feel like it was right on the tip of my tongue, and I never predicted it for some reason. It's not surprising. I'm dead serious. It is not surprising to me in the least bit to see the way that team came out on Friday.
Why do you say that, Connor?
Look at the best teams that they've played this year and look at their performances in those games. They always seem to have it locked in against the best teams that they play. And all the teams that have the little tiny number next to them or some, or like a blue blood of college baseball or whatever, Vanderbilt, LSU, they always play well against those teams. And then against all of the other teams, you're wondering where that team went. And so you get 3 of them with Oregon State, and in the second game on Saturday, you get clobbered, and genuinely a nice response on Sunday. I think if there's a win, like if there's something to take away from that series for Nebraska baseball, it is what they did on Sunday for the big 7th inning and the multiple layered response coming off of the big loss on Saturday, and the game was tied on Sunday. Like you were down to just a couple innings. So genuinely a really, really nice win for them on Sunday. But am I surprised? If you would have told me at the beginning of the weekend, hey, I think Nebraska baseball is going to win 2 out of 3 this weekend against Oregon State, I'd have been like, yeah, I can see it. Yeah, I can see it. So the challenge is for them, how do you take this and how do you make it into something where you could potentially just show a little bit more consistency? Like, I don't know. I mean, not every game is going to be Oregon State. It won't have all the juices like that. This weekend, Rutgers is coming to town. You struggled against Creighton last year. And you play them tomorrow. So I mean, the weather is going to be chilly and icky and very springy, 50s and cloudy basically all week. So can you find a way to simulate an idea where the conditions are whatever it is? Because I mean, I don't feel like I'm going too far overboard by saying that team is a little bit of prisoner of the conditions that the individual game presents to them. I don't want to go too far and be like, oh, they're front runners or blah 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 blah. They have, obviously there's a twinge of that. What I'm describing is a little bit of that right now. But I don't want to put labels on people, whatever. But like, I think they tell you they play their best when the best teams are in the other dugout from them. And there has to be something replicable that you could take from those games that you could put into games where that is not going to be the case, because you're in the Big Ten, baby. You're in the bleep. Mm-hmm. You're in the trenches. Yeah. It ain't Oregon State every weekend. It ain't LSU every weekend. It ain't Vanderbilt every weekend. So they got to find a way to extract those things out of those games and make it work somehow. I'm not sure how.
It's a lot of fun to be a Nebraska baseball player when you're playing Vanderbilt on MLB Network. Can you bring some of that energy to Tal on Wednesday night against a not very good Omaha Mavericks team? Mm-hmm. Like Rutgers, it's going to be sleepy this weekend at home. You going to bring some of that juice, or did you blow it all last weekend? For whatever reason,
that juice, that energy seems to turn into good things for this team. Mm-hmm. They seem to, when their backs are against the wall or when the lights are the brightest, they seem to be there. Lights aren't always at their brightest, Josh. O-Trips writes in on YouTube.
Hi, O-Trips.
Happer, let me on the call tomorrow. Never mind, it's in Lincoln. I will not be there. I don't want to get shot in Crime Town.
Whoa.
There would have been no space for you anyway, O-Trips, because it is John Bishop time. It's John Bishop and Connor Happer for the rest of the season.
Oh.
Yep.
And Nebraska Public Media does not have the game tomorrow. Right.
So, I have no idea.
So John's not a TV boy, I guess is what I'm saying.
Oh, I think he had. I don't know if he has any of those for the Nebraska games. I'm not sure.
Okay. Oh yeah, I guess he's a TV boy when Creighton is.
It's Creighton. It's a Creighton deal.
Yeah. I apologize.
I assume there will be a couple for him this year.
Sure.
That maybe there will be there will be room for O-Trips on the radio.
That unique situation.
Yeah. Nebraska Creighton tomorrow from Lincoln, 6:05, I believe, is the set start time. We'll see what the weather looks like, and that game can be heard right here on 1620 The Zone.
That's right, Connor.
I like that, Josh. You put the big ones on 1620 The Zone.
That's right. That was our choice, not their choice.
The in-state rivalries. All right, we will be back. Sam McKewon will join us on the other side. We'll talk football more with him. Coming up on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the clown.
Well, Iowa's still doing a spring game, guys. Just got a press release.
Is Donald Trump going to theirs?
Well, let's read. The University of Iowa football team will hold an open practice presented by University of Iowa Healthcare on Saturday, April 26th, inside Kinnick Stadium. The open practice will conclude Iowa's spring drills and is free to attend. Gates to Kinnick open at 9:45, practice at 10:45. And everybody could come on out and have a grand old afternoon watching the Hawkeyes practice football, ladies and gentlemen. Watch us practice.
As God intended, not dancing around with the sorority
sorority tug of war.
Yeah. Try that in a small town.
Well, it was an idea in a small town. So we'll see if we can get a hold of Sam McKewon here in a second. He had a good rewind today. It was mostly, I feel like that we'll see what happens tomorrow. There will be, let's see, who is speaking tomorrow on the Nebraska football coaching staff. We have oh my goodness. No, it's John Butler tomorrow. And then the reemergence of mysterious figure Glenn Thomas will re-enter the equation on Thursday. Remember him, Josh?
The Steelers?
Do you remember Glenn Thomas?
Vaguely.
Yes, he still is a coach for Nebraska. He still is their quarterback's coach. And Donnie Raiola will talk to the media on Thursday. But John Butler, so we'll talk some defense and stuff like that on the show tomorrow. But we're still in Holgo mode, I think, on
we love that guy.
On the offensive side of the ball. And so Sam pulled out some stats. He likes to write about tempo, and I think mostly we're trying to just get a good sense of like the picture. What's it going to look like? You look at Dana Holgerson and you think air raid. You look at Nebraska's pieces and you're like, I don't know what this is. You look at what they did last year and you're like, I don't know what this is. You look at Matt Rule and you think slow and defensive, like we're a defensive oriented football team.
That's right.
So I think everybody's, part of the spring here is we're trying to figure out what is this? What's this going to be? So Sam wrote this. Holgerson paused for a half second on Thursday when I asked him about Nebraska's between play tempo. It remains a key question leading into Holgerson and Raiola's second year. When teams have smart, strong-armed, comfortable quarterbacks, they tend to, at least until this most recent season, crank up the speed. Miami ran 71 plays per game with Cam Ward. Oregon ran 68.5 plays per game with Dylan Gabriel. That play per game rate ranked 4th in the Big Ten. Nebraska ranked 5th. Nebraska ran 6 more plays per game in 2024 than it did in 2023. In Holgerson's 4 games calling plays, Nebraska ran 1.35 more plays per game, which was over 69 plays a game overall than its 2 over its season average. At 69.25, the Huskers would have ranked 3rd behind Maryland and Rutgers in offensive plays per game. So I know some tempo was something that Sam and I talked about a little bit last week. And when you have the answer to that question, you have a better picture of, okay, what's the whole thing actually going to look like? As Sam joins us now on the hotline. Hey, Sam, good afternoon. How are you? Oh, sorry. Whoa, sorry. Yeah, let me get him over there. Sorry, now you're on, Sam. What's going on?
I'm good. Not much. Beautiful day. Happy about that.
Lovely. So since we've talked a week ago and Dana Holgerson has spoken and Dylan Raiola has as well, and Matt Rule, I guess, has since then as well. And you wrote about it in the rewind. How much better of a picture do we have on what Nebraska's offense is going to look like in 2025 at this moment? Is that picture getting clearer to you?
Slightly. I mean, I think there's still a lot more to get through and to understand who's going to be on the field and what they're going to be doing. I I think anytime you pare down a playbook, which is what they've done, the hope is that you're going to get better and better and better at executing the plays that are left behind. And, like when you are able to do that, you reduce the level of complexity, not only to yourself, but to the defense. Like you're taking away plays. And so the defense isn't going to have to prepare for as much diversity of, scheme and personnel and formation. On the flip side of the coin, if they have less to prepare for, then they have to execute.
Right.
And the way that you test the defense in those moments is you have to get really good at execution. Then you have to decide what pace you want to run, and whether that can be a very slow pace, that can be a very quick pace. It just kind of depends. So I think that's something they're probably looking at. And again, really good quarterbacks tend to run a faster pace. Not always. Ohio State didn't this year. They only ran 61 plays a game. So, they won the national championship and they weren't moving at a breakneck clip. So, it kind of depends. But that's one of the things they're going to have to work through and figure out as they go along. Is we got a quarterback. We know how good he is. We want him to be able to kind of do fun stuff and throw for a bunch of yards. And what does that look like? And that's part of Holgerson's task.
Right.
Hindsight being 2020, it's pretty remarkable that they thought that journey was going to be taken with Marcus Satterfield.
Right. So
it goes.
I'm thinking now, like, how malleable is a piece in their eye of Dylan? Like, how malleable is the piece that Dylan Raiola is? I feel like they look at him and they say, man, he could kind of do a little bit of everything. He did a different thing last year for us, and it was under center, and it was slower and making checks and reads at the line of scrimmage and stuff like that. And now it's getting a little bit closer to what he would have been signing up for probably at Georgia, which is, not to say that it's going to be any better or worse, but just what the scheme and what the position demands of you at any given moment.
No question. And he was doing some stuff like that last year. He was executing those things last year as well, but I don't know. I mean, one of the key topics that I think to unpack this spring is just his growth and development as a player and as a leader, what that looks like, how they're adapting to his year two, what more can they put on his plate, what are they taking off his plate, so on and so forth. I honestly think he can get better, and I think he believes he can get better. He had a great freshman season in a bunch of ways, but I think he would tell you, well, there's this, and this, and I want to get better at that. And he definitely wants to get better in the red zone and in 2-minute drill. And so, like, part of what you look at is in 2-minute drill, he wasn't much of a runner. So, when you can't run and nobody's open, you do one of two things. Either A, you get sacked, B, you throw the ball away, and I guess there's three things, or C, you check it down. And so, in 2-minute drill last year, they threw 24 passes for 116 yards, which is, 4.83. They checked the ball down a ton.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. That's not terrible, but it wasn't always very effective. And so I think that's the area where they're trying to get better is in making sure that he can run, or they've got options, or guys are getting open, et cetera, et cetera.
What the initial idea we talked about last offseason was, him, Raiola, going into an offense that he signed up for, that was harder, right? It's just harder. More is asked of you, and the windows are going to be tighter, and there's checks and all those different things. The idea was, or at least from Rule, I think last year, was surrounding what was sort of like, yeah, this is what it's going to be like for him when he goes to the NFL. And this is not an offense that is, cheating on the way to get there. I'm sort of paraphrasing the idea. So now They've obviously course corrected here, right? This is a little bit different than what that path was last year.
Yeah, I think he's still going to do some pro style elements. I mean, there's spread elements in all kinds of NFL teams, and so those things aren't necessarily going to change. But yeah, I mean, the offense they were kind of trying to run was the San Francisco 49ers offense.
Yep.
Remember when Marcus Satterfield got here? He's like, "Oh, we're going to huddle up. We're going to use a fullback." And I'm like, there's only 2 or 3 teams in the NFL doing that on any regular basis. The 49ers being one. And I'm not saying that style of offense is bad. I enjoy the heck out of watching the 49ers when they're all healthy. And when Christian McCaffrey's playing, then it's a whole different thing. But you need all the pieces, in my opinion, to run that kind of style. And Nebraska just doesn't have all the pieces. They don't. I mean, it's got to be candid about that. So if you don't have all the pieces, then you better do something else. Better have a little bit more of a slimmed down version. And that's what Holgerson came in and did. Basically, he came in and said, "We're not going to do this. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do this." He said he cut the playbook in half, which is basically he just cut out whole families of plays.
Yeah.
And again, it was just everything moved way too slow. Their offense moved like sludge. A lot of moving parts, a lot of shifts, a lot of trades, a lot of motion, a lot of window dressing, kind of like, I don't know, just there are a few, like Les Miles used to run that offense, with LSU. There's nothing necessarily wrong with it. It just takes a lot of effort. And it's kind of the offensive style that one of Rule's mentors used to run at Syracuse when Paul Pasqualoni was the coach there. And it was kind of a pro style with a little bit of option football bit mixed in. And, that's kind of what they were running. And so, I understand the template for it. I just think when you have a really good quarterback, you want to be able to do some additional things. Now, again, Andrew Luck did those things when he played for Jim Harbaugh at Stanford. J.J. McCarthy was doing those things when he played at Michigan. I feel like Harbaugh offense is kind of what they were trying to run. And, I think they're going to run something a little bit more slimmed down.
How comfortable? I asked this question to Schaefer earlier. How comfortable does Dana Holgerson appear to be right now, just with where he is, how his coaching journey has led him to get to this point? Not only what he's, you just explained some of the things that he's done in his first few months on the job. It does though feel like the right position for him at the right time, does it not?
Absolutely, yeah. So I think he's loving life. I think he's having a lot of fun. And so this is a good role for him. I think this. If I had to guess, the thing that Dana Holgerson didn't like about being a head coach was recruiting and the roster and talent management thing that it has now become, and it's become a behemoth. I mean, it's just, and Rule's well suited for the role. Rule has a big brain, really brilliant guy in a lot of different ways. He can kind of manage this thing. Like that portion, that's Rule. I think that's Rule's skill set. Like the roster stuff and the portal and the recruiting and juggling, 12 plates at once. Matt Rule's good at that. And that's why I think he's well suited to that. Holgerson's well suited to coach him. He's a ball coach and he can coach football games. And if you gave him the same talent as you gave somebody else, like a different coach, he might beat you because he can coach a football game. He won a lot of football games when he was at West Virginia and Houston that he probably shouldn't have won, and he lost a few he shouldn't have lost. And some of that was about all the other stuff. Like, I think recruiting was a challenge. And I think he got tired of doing that at West Virginia, perhaps. And he went to Houston and then did they have the NIL money? There's all kinds of stuff that I don't think he loves, but I think the thing that he's doing now, he loves. And he works for a guy who secretly, I think, loves that stuff. The talent and all the GM stuff. I actually think Rule kind of likes it.
Oh,
he kind of loves it.
I think that is one of the things of the offseason that we like. He has kind of settled into that role as the kind of everything, here you do this kind of commander in chief kind of role. I totally agree with you. It seems like he absolutely loves it.
Like, and I'm not trying to say it's Brad Stevens at all, but you know how Brad Stevens probably got better as a GM, like as a CEO and a GM, when he left the coaching role. It's almost like in college football, and Brad Stevens is a really good college coach, because in college you got to be the GM too. And I think that's an area where Rule, he can kind of run things the way he wants to at Nebraska and kind of instill his culture. He's not, and he can kind of be a GM, and he can be sort of a walk around head coach. The one thing I thought he needed to do, Connor, was get an OC that was like Holgerson. Like,
give him the keys and go.
And he's a head coach type. Like, I think he's probably able to say things that Satterfield would have had a harder time saying, because, you know, Satterfield could reference maybe Spencer Rattler and a few other guys, but Dana Holgerson can go, well, I coached, you know, see that guy playing for the Seahawks? I coached him, you know, or like, I remember in 2012 when we went down to Texas, and there's just, Satterfield doesn't have as many of those kind of stories. And so Holgerson just brings a certain level of, he's slightly older. He's got just certain bent to him. And I think the players kind of get a kick out of it. Now, when he gets pissed, I don't know that they get a kick out of him, but they get a kick out of him a little bit. And so Rule made a wise hire there, because Rule can handle the transfer, the development portion of it. They got a good coach for that, for sure.
All right, Sam. We will let you go. Great stuff as always. Appreciate the time, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, take care.
Sam McKewon from the Omaha World Herald. As always, great thoughts from him. Stay tuned for his practice takes as we go on throughout the week. I don't think there's an open window this week, actually, now that I'm looking at it. Let's see.
Oh, no. What are we going to do for content?
There will be content, Josh. There will
Okay.
be coaches talking, but Tuesday is the next open portion of practice.
Not tomorrow?
Next Tuesday. I apologize.
Okay.
And then there will be another open window, and then it will be the Husker games with no sorority tug of war. Definitely no sorority of tug of war.
That we know of.
Greg in Myrtle Beach has chimed in.
Oh, hello, Greg. What you got for us, Greg?
Too bad we didn't ask Sam how middle school Rule did with Christian McCaffrey and his crap offense in Carolina? ?
Matt talks about that all the time.
So that was the point, right? What Rule's effectively doing is, and I think it fits both parties perfectly, to be quite honest with you, is Matt Rule says, offense, no thank you. Not for me. Not for me anymore. I need to find a person who I trust and can just
wants to run an offense.
Who just wants to run an offense and just wants to make a good offense.
Doesn't want to be a head coach.
Like point blank period. And is not hopefully is not particularly beholden to what I think. Because I honestly, I think one of the things that makes the mark of an actual good football team is this constant push and pull between the head coach and the offensive coordinator. How fast do I go? How dangerous am I on offense? Because head coaches always seem to have, and I think it fits Rule perfectly, head coaches always seem to have the defensive mind. I shouldn't say always, but head coaches seem to have, especially older head coaches, like they seem to have the defensive mind. And they want to protect their defenses. It is not Dana Holgerson's job to protect Nebraska's defense. Like, it is, but it's not. He wants to figure out how to score points. You heard him talk about it last week, and he was like, yeah, now that I've been a head coach, you kind of understand those things. And, you know, I do have a more worldly sort of view on football now. But so Rule has stepped out of the offense. Holgerson, it's his. And I think, like Sam talked about, I think it fits Rule really well to be you do this guy, you do this, you do this, you go do this, you go do this, you go do this. Seriously. And then I think it obviously fits Dana really well too, to just say, you are the offensive head coach. Do whatever you would like to do.
Seems to be a match made in.
I think it's really good.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to work, but I like it. That's all.
It is what both of them are looking for.
No doubt. The Royals are on. All right.
There.
I have a couple things with them here in just a second, including a status update on their all powder blue uniforms. We're back after this on 1620 The Zone. Now you want to talk about torpedo bats. You know what rule sucks? The ground rule double.
Hell yeah.
Ban the ground rule double.
Great take. Maybe your best.
It did just cost the Royals a run, but generally a probably pretty good rule.
I guess.
Something has to happen. Definitely would have been 2-0 when it's 1-0 Royals, who are wearing their powder blue uniforms.
That's right.
Apparently, I did not hear this firsthand, but I'm catching it secondhand off of Twitter. Apparently, Ryan the Fever on the Bally's FanDuel whatever broadcast as the Royals were getting ready to take the plate in the bottom and the top of the first, said that they would be wearing these as their full-time road uniforms.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No gray Kansas Cities.
So I don't know if those will be like alternates or if they're just being retired, period. But yeah, the powder blues are going to be worn.
Okay.
I mean, they're going to be,
you see a lot of them.
So road games and Saturday home games, unless they wear I mean, it's probably like 80 times, 80 plus times this year. Hunter Renfroe just had an RBI, a 2 RBI single.
Hello.
Hunter Renfroe, who I hate, but it just had a 2 RBI
Connor?
single.
What now?
I guess it proved me wrong.
3-0 Royals, top of the first.
3-0. 3-0. I have a Royals take, and if anybody is interested, it's not really a Royals take. It's a baseball take.
I'm very interested.
So on Sunday, Emmanuel Clase, dominant closer for the Cleveland Guardians last year, comes in the ninth inning. He blew a save on Thursday on opening day. Then he comes in a 6-2 game on Sunday. Not a save situation. Get some work in. He hits Jonathan India in the head one pitch after going way up the ladder. Same pitch, goes right back in, hits him in the head. So hitters have been complaining about pitchers doing crazy stuff for the last couple of years now. And it's always sort of fallen on deaf ears, right? It's like, dude, I don't know. Like, I'm sorry. You're in a dangerous game. But the premise of the idea has always been, here you have these pitchers that are fighting to stay on the edge, right? They are trying to create an edge for themselves anywhere they go. Do something different, right? So whether it's velocity or specifically different types of pitchers, especially of a high caliber and who have had a high success rate in Major League Baseball, pitchers have been really experimental over the last couple of years in baseball. This is in game. And so I heard Whit Merrifield do a rant about this. I think it was last year, maybe a couple of years ago. And hitters have been talking about it for a long time, but the pitchers like to go up there and they like to experiment. And what happens is when you could throw 99 miles an hour and 100 miles an hour and you don't know where it's going and you're quote unquote experimenting, it gets a little dangerous in a hurry. Guys get hit in the head. It's not good. So you have pitchers doing crazy stuff with velocity and arm angles and types of pitches that don't normally get thrown in a game, and it's dangerous. I'm starting to get it. I'm starting to understand it. I also think part of Emmanuel Clase's game is intimidation. You're a closer. It's a part of your game. Intimidation. And how intimidating is it if you're a hitter in the box and this big 6'5" dude is coming at you and you know he throws 100 miles an hour, but you don't know where it's going? Is it coming at my head or is it going in the strike zone? Will I die or will it be a strike? Right? It's a hard, like, you have to really, really lock in if you're in the batter's box against a guy like that. And so you combine all of that with the baseball being the slickness of a pearl, and like
they're working so hard on velo and how hard can I throw, how fast can I throw, that it doesn't matter where the ball's going. If I just got to get up and throw it 100.
I think that's a little too simple.
Okay.
I think that's a little too simple. I don't think it's like, oh, they're just trying to throw as hard as they can. They don't care where it's going. I think what I said is a little bit more of it. Like, I think they're doing a lot of experimenting, right? They're throwing different pitches in different counts. And for Class A, and Vinny Pasquantino went on a rant about this after the game. He was like, Class A had not thrown that pitch. He threw 40 pitches the entire season. He threw on Thursday for an inning plus, and he threw on Sunday. Those are the only two times he threw that pitch. The first one went up under Jonathan India's chin, and the other one went in his ear hole. And so you have this is happening. And as a batter, as a hitter, I would imagine it's very, very difficult to get comfortable in that position. Speaking of so to wrap it up, what do you do about this? Nothing. I mean, nothing. There's nothing you could do. It is. If you were a hitter, you're going to keep complaining about it, and you're going to keep saying how these pitchers don't. They need to stop experimenting or whatever. Or there's no rules that you can put in place from pitchers to stop unpurposeful, because they're not purposefully hitting guys, right? There's no rules that you can put in place for this. I saw somebody proffering the idea over the weekend, like you hit a guy in the head, it's an automatic ejection or something like that. Apparently that's a rule.
Weeps.
Nick has told me that this is a rule in Japan. Like, okay, it's not going to stop pitchers from experimenting. They're going to keep experimenting on the mound. And when you're experimenting and you have the danger, you have some very dangerous weapons attached to your shoulder, attached to your body. Yeah, it's going to get dangerous, right? So there's nothing that anybody could do.
It's the inverse of the torpedo bat, sort of like, hey, that doesn't feel fair. It feels like an unfair advantage to the hitters, but what are you going to do?
It's within the rules. It's within the rules. Speaking of Nick's favorite country, Japan, did you see what Roki Sasaki is going viral for over the weekend?
No.
Well, he's crying.
Oh, no.
So now we have to have the very manly sports debate of, does crying mean that he cares? Do we care that he's crying? Are we mad at him for crying?
He should have to wear a pink jersey.
Nice. I like that.
Mad card revoked.
I think it's been hard for Roki Sasaki, who in his 2 starts has thrown 4 2/3 innings. He's walked 9 and struck out 5. Doesn't seem like he can handle the baseball very well. And I saw there was a former major leaguer who has a podcast who was wondering, based on some of the mannerisms when he was taken out of the game yesterday, if he was maybe using the sticky stuff. He hasn't had 2 starts yet, 2 appearances. He was wondering if he was using the sticky stuff.
Did you learn this on Eric Hosmer's podcast?
I saw it from Eric Hosmer's Twitter.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That is the person. That is the exact person I'm talking about. Yes.
Well, we had it on in the studio. I didn't know it.
So the internet thinks he was using the sticky stuff. So the transition from Japanese baseball to American baseball, and specifically Major League Baseball, where I just mentioned this, there's so many, and this is part of the reason why I love the sport, because there are so many intricate little tiny details that make it, whatever transition or adjustment, so difficult. But the best players in the world are there, and so they always end up making it, right? But in order to bridge that gap, because the baseball is slick, the baseball is literally, they mud them up, but they're slick. The Major League Baseballs that are used in games. One of the transitional things that can be done is to use little tack, little something.
Just get a little grip.
A little sunscreen and a little sweat or something like that. The umpires go through and they check their hands. You ever watched an umpire make the checks as a pitcher walks off a mound? Next time so they'll open things up at Warner Park tomorrow. Watch the umpires make the checks as the pitchers walk off the mound. You tell me what they're checking. Nothing. Ain't checking nothing. You ever seen that video?
Palms, tops. Okay, get out of
here. You ever seen that video of the security guard with the wand at the stadium not doing anything at all? That's what the umpires are doing when they're making the checks as the pitchers walk off the mound. So it's been a very interesting weekend for baseball.
It's back.
It's back, and there are controversies, ladies and gentlemen. Torpedo bats, dudes getting nailed in the head, and sticky stuff. Long live baseball. Josh, by the way, over the weekend, before we take a break, I did watch one of the things that you told me to watch on What to Watch.
Whoa.
I watched the live action Lion King.
You did?
Yeah. Not like purposefully. I just sat down and it was on.
Okay.
And I liked it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, totally fine. Doesn't need
the
to exist,
backstory of
but
Mufasa.
Yeah. Kind of interesting.
Super interesting. How did Scar become the way he became?
Yeah. Well, seems like he had reasons.
How to get that scar? Well, yeah, but I don't know. He seemed like he kind of had a warped view on some things as well.
Can't be pushing people out like that.
Well, Mufasa would have said the same thing. All right, we're back after this on 1620 The Zone.
After further review, the host is deemed to be out of bounds. The Connor Happer Show returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone.
Ikel Garcia hit a home run for his second of the year. It's 4-0. Royals on the top of the second.
You got to apologize to that guy.
I don't understand why you keep saying this. You think I hate Michael Garcia?
Yeah, you're always like, that guy can't start. He can't play anywhere. Where's he going to play? That guy sucks.
Well, they do have a bit of a positional bottleneck.
Yeah,
that
is true.
I'm still wondering he didn't start on opening day because of said positional bottleneck. But I do love me some Michael Garcia.
Dead center.
It's went deep to dead center. We forgot to do the top 5 poll questions of the month, so we'll do that tomorrow. Perfect. Excellent.
One segment down.
I need to set a reminder in my phone or something like that.
It's in the show rundown.
Yep, it is. But sometimes, I don't know, your brain gets caught up and it's doing some other
Well,
things.
we got that FOIA email, and we're like, oh.
That's true.
Red meat.
At Happer Show, today's polls are will be included in the potential list tomorrow.
That is true.
If we needed that. Is Hotmail an old email?
100%.
I'm going to vote no. 87% say yes.
Wow.
Which is the older sounding email domain? Oldest, I think, was the goal target word there.
I guess so.
AOL, Hotmail, or Yahoo? Which is the oldest of the three?
I'm going AOL here.
Yeah, I think I am too.
It just reminds me of a time where we were getting our internet time off of discs.
75% say AOL, 23% say Hotmail, and 2% say Yahoo. Wow, great look for the Yahoo people out there. Shout out to them people, including myself. Deep fried Uncrustable, yes or no? No.
Definitely.
56% say yes. Do people go to McDonald's because they know that it's the restaurant that will always be open?
That's right.
Yes. 81% say yes.
Oh, the dishwasher didn't come in tonight. We have to close the whole restaurant. That doesn't happen at McDonald's.
Did the corn dog cause World War II?
I cautiously subscribe to this theory.
70% say it did not.
Interesting.
And finally, does every office with a whiteboard have predictions written on it?
It should. Or brainstorming ideas for your spring game replacement.
Mike, or no, it wasn't Mike. JB says mine doesn't. Yes, I'm going to say yes. 56% say no. And those are the polls. We did get an email from John.
Hi, John.
Don't worry, Connor. I will remind you about the top 5 polls. Please do so at about 12:40 tomorrow afternoon.
Send us that email.
Thank you very much. All right, what are we watching tonight, Josh?
With all this talk about Dana Holgerson, I feel like we've forgotten that today is the greatest day in the sports calendar, Crown Day in Vegas.
Oh.
It gets started here in about 20 minutes on FS1. Quadruple header. Utah, Butler, George Washington, Boise State, Nebraska, Arizona State. Remember that time Nebraska played Arizona State in football?
Scott Frost does.
That's right. And Washington State versus Georgetown.
I tell you what,
ends the night.
If we get this very first Nebraska-Georgetown matchup for Mike Schaefer, it'll be all worth it. The whole thing, missing the tournament, being bad to end the year.
Totally worth it.
Losing to Ohio State, it'll all be worth it.
Get dream matchups at the Crown. That's what it provides you. Nick Baugh will be there in some capacity.
I assume he's doing games.
I assume so too.
Yeah.
But he sometimes they stick him in that third wheel role where he's like interviewing coaches. I don't like that. He's better than that. But you take what you're given, right? Women's basketball, the Elite Eight on ESPN, 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock tips. Pair of 1 versus 2 matchups. Texas takes on TCU and UConn USC.
Tonight's game for Nebraska will be on FS1 featuring Kevin Kugler, Robbie Hummel, and Kim Adams. So they go straight from doing Elite Eight games yesterday.
That's right.
Straight into the old Crown. Vegas, baby.
It's always calling. NBA doubleheader on TNT. The Celtics are in Memphis to take on the Grizzlies, looking for their 9th straight win. And then at 9 o'clock, the Rockets are in La La Land to take on the Lakers. Baseball, Cade Povich on the bump for Baltimore as the Orioles host the Red Sox. That's going on right now. 5:30 first pitch at the Great American Ballpark. They still call it that? Rangers, Reds.
No.
No?
Nope.
No. What is it called?
Wait, with the Reds?
Yeah.
Yes, Great American
Okay,
Ballpark.
thank you.
I believe that's still what it's called.
And then the Braves look for their first win against the Dodgers at 9 o'clock. Kind of an uphill battle, if you ask me. 9 o'clock on ABC, an Oprah Winfrey special, the menopause revolution.
Oh.
Oprah Winfrey tackles the inevitable phase of life every woman will face with talking heads Halle Berry, Naomi Watts, and Maria Shriver. And finally, I am obligated to tell you that The Town is on Paramount Network tonight at 7 o'clock.
All right.
Whose car we taking?
What a movie. Josh, thanks.
Thank you, Connor.
That is what we are watching tonight. And that is the show. If you missed any of the show, guess what? It's all a podcast too. Whoa. And it's all on YouTube where you could just rewind the video if you want to do that. That's as well.
Right. Totally an option.
It's available. Anyway you listen, it's still AM radio. If you missed it, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it, or it's probably already been uploaded to your device. The crossover is coming up next.